Test, 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 test. I see. Small technical issue. I should have this fixed momentarily. Okay, looks good. Yep. Okay, excellent. Okay, just gonna give it a second and I'll get started soon. Okay. Welcome everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you've been having a good week. And thank you for checking out tonight's stream. Tonight we're going to be talking about Helldivers 2 and its relationship, for lack of a better word, to the design philosophy of Elden Ring Nightreign. So I figure we're going to do maybe about 2 hours of Helldivers, and then depending on how that goes, maybe hop back over to Elden Ring for comparison, to Nightreign specifically for comparison. Now, my goal here is to try to reconcile myself and also to share with you what my thoughts are on how each game cultivates its multiplayer loop, and specifically its core gameplay loop in a multiplayer context, and incorporates elements of roguelike mechanics, for lack of a better word. Ultimately, I think Nightreign, as we discussed before, is a really effective game and a really enjoyable game in a lot of ways. But I also find myself wishing that it were more like Helldivers in a few regards, and I was trying to identify my time off stream why exactly that is. What exactly it is about this particular game that I find so compelling. So forgive me as I'm still trying to fix up my setup over here. Hi doggo, my puppy is visiting. My partner's away for a few days, so I've got full animal management duty, but she's been really good. We just got back from class. I forget if I've mentioned this before, but my doggo is a very strong-willed puppy, very good girl, but also very set in her ways when she decides she wants to do something. So we've been doing stuff like making sure she doesn't jump up on people, making sure that she knows to leave the cats alone and not bother them, stuff like that. So I think I'm making really good progress. But of course now she's a little antsy because she hasn't she's been working all day. She wants to go play, so hopefully she'll settle down in just a second. Yeah, so I forgot to say hello to Saria. I hope you're doing well. Hope your week's been going well as well. That sounds like an excellent choice. Am I pronouncing it right? The chicken fricassee? I never had it myself, but I mean, chicken seems to be such a, unless you're dealing with picky vegetarians like myself, I guess, chicken seems to be a good sort of staple food, right? It's like a good platform almost where you can do a lot with it fairly readily. A lot of people enjoy it. A lot of people just sort of gravitate towards that taste, right? But is there something special about the fricassee that you enjoy in particular? Yeah, she's a good girl. She's just about 2 years old now, so she still does have a little bit of the puppy energy to her. Yeah, so if you've come across this particular stream, and you've just as a general introduction to folks who might have stumbled across this, and you've seen some of my Dark Souls related stuff, this title, I'll give a quick breakdown of what this title is and how it works, and then I'll kind of explain how it loops in or links in to Nightreign. So very much like Nightreign, you have a central hub, and from the central hub you can choose sorry, I'm getting a little lecture over here. You have basically a little mission control center, which is very similar to the round table hold. And from this mission control center, or the war table overview, you can deploy to different missions. You can see the overviews for the different missions that you are going to be sent to. So essentially this is very similar to choosing the boss that you're going to fight in Nightreign, except instead of just picking a particular boss, you're also picking the overall mission, the overall level layout and modifiers and stuff like that, right? So you get to plan a level. You also get to set your difficulty. You get to choose whether or not you want to match with other people, and what level of difficulty of missions that you want to match with other people. I guess a better way to put that is you can either reduce your difficulty and match with other people that are around that difficulty and go in and help somebody else who's having a difficult time. You can launch solo, or you can go up to a higher difficulty and you can play with folks that are around your level and try to conquer a mutually, you know, something that's basically approximately your level. You can choose which faction to fight. There's the Automatons, the Terminids, and the Illuminate, and each of these factions are different like races of aliens. They all have their different like classes of enemies, like different mission objectives, different strengths and weaknesses, and different weapons that are effective against them. So whereas in Elden Ring you kind of always have the same base experience, but then in Nightreign you have basically the same overall map experience and map flow, and then it's just the boss that differs. Here it's kind of the other way around, because yes, there are elite enemies that patrol the various maps, but there's no one singular boss. You just have to deploy, complete your mission objectives, and then return back to the ship afterwards, right? So, why do I want to talk about this? Well, apart from the fact that I adore this game, I've got about 100 hours in it, and I have enjoyed most of my time with it. I also want to talk about all of the stuff that it does super well and super effectively in terms of just cultivating fun, giving the player options, and talk about some of the things that maybe Elden Ring does or Nightreign does better, but also that this game does particularly effectively in and of itself, and sort of things that we can learn as game designers from how they decided to put all this together, right? Sarah says, this sounds similar to Marvel's Avengers. I know people didn't like that game, but I personally loved it. Oh, yeah. My only complaint was that it lost service before Captain Marvel and She-Hulk. Oh, yeah, that's a shame. That's not the sort of, like, Overwatch style one that, like, the team fighter one, is it? It's the one where you would kind of, like, deploy to a larger city area and, like, fight a bunch of different monsters and complete objectives and stuff like that. Yeah. It's always disappointing when, like, those games it's so difficult to make a game like this and make it stick, because the online community is so fickle. Like, you have to find a very particular niche and, like, really hit it hard, and then honestly it's kind of hard for anybody else to break into that same space afterwards. So yeah, it would be a shame if the servers are down entirely. But anyway, so I want to talk about let's see. When we first start off as a Helldiver, and we haven't really spent any time in any maps, and we're just sort of getting the lay of the land, and you come onto your ship for the first time. Well, first of all, whereas the Round Table Hold in Nightreign, and by the way, I'm going to make a lot of comparisons. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm implying that one thing is better or better designed or smarter than the other. Some things it'll kind of sound that way because I'm being like, ooh, this is so cool, right? But that doesn't mean it's inherently or objectively better. It just means that, like, I really enjoy this particular thing, right? Some of these things aren't going to necessarily be copy pastable over to Elden Ring. So if I genuinely like the fact that we're hovering over a planet over here, for example, you can't exactly just put that into Nightreign necessarily and have it work. So I'm not holding it against Nightreign. But I do want to kind of highlight some of the stuff that I find genuinely impressive and, like, satisfying about this game. Saria says, yes, that's the one. Okay, cool. It's the deploying to the city. I was so impressed with Crystal Dynamics. Oh, it's Crystal. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's awesome. I hear that they're working on cool things, and I can only speculate as to what they are, but I'm excited to see what they might be when they're released. And hopefully we'll hear some news soon. It's been a little while since they released a mainline title. So let's see. So one of the things I really like about this particular way of deploying to a mission, unlike something like Overwatch, for example, where everything is handled from a meta UI, like you don't deploy into a space, everything about deploying to a mission is diegetic, and it's I guess it kind of like is given context within the world. So little details like this, like I never noticed before, that there's just like a little guy's hat over here. There's a bunch of casings, and there's a grenade like dropped on the ground, etc., etc. But more to the point, when you deploy and you spawn onto your ship for the first time, the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to walk in here, and you're going to see this bright screen, and this lady kind of highlighted by the lighting behind her, and then the ship over there. Right, so you're immediately seeing, okay, a huge arsenal of weapons and a cool ship and like a Gatling gun or whatever the hell that is. And so it's setting up some intrigue and kind of selling the idea that you're going to be able to customize and choose between a wide variety of different options, which is neat. As you come up here, you see just a hint of the sky in the background, which creates a little bit of intrigue. and kind of motivates you to want to go explore over there. But there's also stuff for you to see here. If you poke your head down here, oh, there's turrets. I guess maybe I'll be able to use those turrets. Maybe I haven't used that one before. What does that one do? That one looks really cool. I'll have to try that out, right? So you get to see them up close in a safe, neutral environment. And this leads you directly, naturally, like if you follow the line of sight as you come up the stairs, the most natural thing, and if you look on the floor too, you can kind of see that the lighting and like these little chevrons on the floor as well are kind of naturally causing you to gravitate over to here, where you see all your weapons and your armor, and you can diegetically set your loadout and customize and choose your weapons and all that stuff, right? And then, of course, there's a natural flow. There's another line, just a bright line, that leads you directly down to mission control. So everything is super streamlined, super focused, and it's like almost like a like a tour at an amusement park, where there's always going to be a clear pull pushing you in one particular direction. But if you stop at any given time and you look out of the corner of your eyes, right, like, okay, there's something pulling us over there, and there's something pulling us over there. There's intrigue at every corner. We don't have to have something pop up in our face and be like, go over here to purchase your weapons. You know, it's all part of the non-meta experience, the diegetic experience, and it's all woven directly into the ship. And if you take a little bit of time to actually look at how much detail there is, what exactly are on these panels, they're not just fluff, right? They're actually showing you your ship. They're showing you your different things that you're going to deploy in your mission. Everything feels extremely like personal. You know, you start to develop like a relationship with your craft. So now, rather than just having like a screen, right, that deploys you into your mission, which is a little harder to develop a relationship with, you have something that feels tangible. It feels like your own, and it feels like it grows and changes and shifts with you. Now, I will say that the people in Nightreign who are at the Roundtable Hold also have a tendency, like themselves as individuals, to kind of grow and change and move around, and they feel very alive, and that's something that I think Nightreign does better, quote unquote, than this game. Like, generally, she's going to stand right there, that dude's going to stand right over there, and nothing else apart from other people you're playing online with really moves around in this space. So Nightreign does make the whole space feel more alive. But this feels like an actual place that belongs to you. It's responding to you, it's growing with you, and it's empowering you in a very direct way. And let's talk in just a second about all of the different ways that this game allows you to customize your experience, because that's such a crucial part of the replayability and the quote-unquote roguelike experience of this game. Sarah says, Nightreign should let me hover the planet. 2 out of 10, not enough space. Honestly, yeah, like when... how cool would it be when you grab the Spirit Hawk or whatever it's called, and you fly out over the... I'm like gesturing with my hands over the over the monitor. You fly out over that sea of fog or whatnot, and swoop off into the distance. If the fog parted as you were going, it's such a minor thing, but this is something that I wish the game did more of. I really wish that they didn't have those jump camera cuts in the loading screen that interrupted you getting on the Spirit Hawk or the Spectral Hawk, and then you go to another screen and then you're in the map. I really wish you like went through the cloud layer and just showed up there in one seamless experience. Obviously, that would be way harder to manage, especially with the netcode stuff, I guess. But still. To be fair, even in Helldivers, there is a loading screen. There's 2 loading screens between going on the ship and then going down to the planet. So it's a tough ask, but I think they could have made it a little bit more organic, potentially. But yeah, we want to get into a match pretty soon here to kind of show things, in action, because action is where this game really excels the most. But before I do that, just to kind of bring things home a little bit, I want to talk about how many different ways you can customize and grow your character really quickly. So first of all, there's the ship itself, and the ship is something that, is basically just a mission platform, but it's also a place where you unlock a new weaponry. It's a place where you can empower the ship itself, and this is kind of a subtle little trick here. So these are all upgrades for your weapons, right? Like this one over here gives you more ammunition for a heavy machine gun or like various kinds of heavy weaponry. This one over here decreases the cooldown by which you get special weapons and stuff like that, right? So really, these are upgrades to your weapons, but look at how they're phrased, right? Each one of them has narrative context. Donation access license purchases permanent access to ammo provided by the Support Our Heroes Fund, which allows patriotic family members to donate supplies to their loved ones in the field. So when you unlock this, and you'll notice that there's like a graphic in the background here that kind of changes, when you purchase this, you're not just giving yourself a flat 10% boost or whatever to your ammo capacity. You're actually narratively you're being granted the privilege to have your family members send you additional ammo to help you survive better, and it's being framed as like this great privilege or whatever. So this gives you a little bit of narrative context to the world too, right? Like, there was nothing physically stopping you from carrying more ammo in the first place, but now you have unlocked your ship's ability, made your ship cooler, and because your ship is now cooler, democracy itself is allowing you to carry more ammunition if your family sends it to you, basically. So, and every one of these little upgrades has a tangible effect on the ship behind it. And you can see like more lighting, more graphics, like, or more like framework, like geometry, whatever. This one actually expands the ship out to the side. So the more you get, you can actually see, I think this is new, right? Like, you can actually see the guns being represented on the outside of your ship. Everything you do feels like it's a tangible upgrade for yourself, for your character, and for the ship. And the ship is kind of a character in and of itself. Then you have shit like this, which is just like, okay, well, you can change the color on your car and whatnot. I don't really care about that stuff, but I know a lot of people really do like those cosmetic things. And here you go, this flexible system that you can use to apply different paint jobs and stuff like that. I will say there are a lot of weaponry. There are a lot of individual weapons that you can summon in and special abilities you can summon in. After a certain point, one of the things that's kind of gotten stale, granted, like, I'm 100 hours in at this point, right? And all of these stuff is basically like DLC stuff, which I can explain later, or Battle Pass stuff. I already have all of the main stuff unlocked. I already have maxed out the amount of currency I can carry to be able to unlock further stuff. So it does taper out after a while. And some of this stuff is like a little bit redundant, you know. Oh, this is a Gatling gun that comes from orbit. Oh, this is a slightly different kind of gun that comes from orbit. Another different gun. Another different gun. And I'm oversimplifying it here, right? Because like they all have different uses. But I mean, realistically, you're probably only going to use like 4 of these consistently. Same thing over here. You know, there's a couple here that are just completely useless, at least in my experience, and others that are like god tier. It is really, really cool and super, super useful that they provide a small animated like video demonstrating how each one of them works. So every time you go to purchase something, you know for a fact that you're getting what it says on the tin. It's still going to be a while before you decide whether or not you like it, whether it functions the way you expect, etc., etc. But you get to see it. There's no like smoke and dagger or cloak and dagger, like smoke and mirrors kind of shit. It's very straightforward, and it feels satisfying to go through and unlock all these things, even if you don't wind up using them all that much, and kind of see your ship grow. And then I guess you could argue that it's like a little psychologically manipulative to then have these little things over here be, now, so for me, for my brain anyway, if I see all these green check marks and then I see these yellow ones, my brain is like, no, not good, not okay, I'm not fine with it. Like, they all have to match. They all have to be the same color. And so now I feel like I have to go buy the DLC just to unlock these. But you can like buy the DLC or the Battle Pass rather with real money, or you can buy it with in-game currency. And so I can eventually unlock all of this stuff if I want to. So at the end of the day, all I want to say about all this stuff is that the core experience of empowering your character, upgrading your character, outfitting your character is directly tied to this like diegetic ship interface around you, and feels like a very, organic and smart and satisfying way of kind of pulling you in. Like, every single time you go to a mission, you're not just excited to fight the bugs and like level up and stuff like that, but you're also excited to kind of come back to your ship, to your home base, and see it grow. Like, oh, what's the next thing that I'm going to unlock? What new crazy shit is my character going to be able to do now, right? And then I'm not going to spend too much time on the weapons. I'm just checking my loadout to make sure that I'm like ready for the mission actually. But again, like, they recently added, this wasn't available at launch, but they recently added like new customizable upgrades for your different weapons. Do different sights, different heat sinks, different ammo capacity, different camo, you know, all that kind of shit that you would find in anything like Call of Duty. It's much more basic than something like your Call of Duty, but it's fine. I mean, they put it in as a free update, and they're still working on it. That's fine. But the point is that you are going to always have an access to like a rotating, updating stable of different things for you to try out. And even if you're kind of bored with some of the primary weapons, you don't want to spend money on the DLC. Okay, fine. You can look forward to like the ship upgrades, right? There's always something going on. Let me catch up on chat. Would I say this game is similar to Warframe? Asks Saria. I'm not sure. I haven't played Warframe all that much. What I remember about it, I do think there's quite some similarity between the two titles. Warframe, I don't know how much like personal customization that there was, but I think I recall there basically being like mission areas like Destiny where you would kind of deploy to and you would kind of have to sweep through and then come back and recoup. So you're basically like deploying on specific missions for specific times. If so, then it's quite similar. And I'm going to jump into a match real soon here so you can kind of take a look. Your family sent you the ammo for Christmas. Yes, they did. USA. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you'll soon see very quickly that this game is heavily inspired by Starship Troopers, which I'm embarrassed to say I didn't realize when I was younger is a scathing satire of like the sort of rah-rah USA military industrial complex shit. Or I guess more specifically of like military worship culture, for lack of a better phrase. But obviously like that was a big inspiration for this title. And there's some pretty heavy satire going on here. But yeah, so let's see. Just like the round table hold, being able to choose your mission, I think is really good. I like the way that it's presented. I will say I personally prefer this to what Nightreign is doing because, this is very, very slick, right? Like, I wish you could see your character, like if you're playing as Wild or whatever, like Wilder leans forward and puts his hands right down on the table and like looks over, I don't know, it's just like staring at that giant grace thing in the center of the table, something like that, right? Have it feel a little bit more organic, like don't break the flow. And that's something that this game does, like from mission prep to deployment to return, everything feels like it's part of a cohesive whole, even though there's a couple of little tricks and cheats that they're doing to make it seem that way. Really like the fact that you can kind of very easily set your difficulty. You obviously get more rewards for doing more difficult missions. The rewards that you get are telegraphed very clearly along the bottom of the screen. You can kind of see those little icons lighting up at the very bottom in the middle. There's the green, the orange, and the purple. That kind of informs you as to what sorts of things you're going to be picking up within the mission. And if I want to just say, you know what, fuck it, I don't care where I play, I just want to team up with somebody and I want to help them out. So I'm just going to pick the difficulty I want. Let's see, 5 sounds okay. It's about right in the middle. Hit quick play, and it's going to search through all of the people that are deployed in the world right now, and it's going to find me a match and just put me together with a team. Right? And you can see that it found me a match. There's already 3 other people. Now, if I'm playing and I'm having a hard time, I can throw down a thing called... I just noticed the blue player's name there. I can throw down something called a SOS beacon, and that will prioritize me in the queue. So, there's a good chance that I just got sent to someone who is in need of particular amount of help. So I'm going to focus for a second while I pick my stratagems, and I'll kind of explain what this is once I get into the to the game proper. Let's see, probably go with EATs. Okay, so you can see the other 3 people that I've teamed up with. I like the fact that you can see, oh yeah, the satire being hilarious. Yeah, that's something that's very richly like embedded in the game overall. Right? So I love the fact that you can kind of see everybody what their loadout is, and you can kind of decide. 1 second, I haven't actually talked much while playing this game yet. You can kind of see in real time like what decisions they're making, and then you can adjust your build accordingly. So like one thing that I think is a big oversight in Nightreign at the moment is that unfortunately, once you've chosen your loadout for your character, you don't have the ability to change it. Like you can't change the runes that you have equipped, or what do they call it? Like the scenes, the gems, or whatever, right? Once you load up for the queue, if it turns out that you've picked a bunch of items that increase your rune composition, and it turns out that, or rune composition, excuse me. So let's say that I wanted to play a support build, right? And I was expecting that I would play like the bow guy, and I would have 2 other people that would play like, oh shit, I'm sorry. You can kill your teammates. 1 second. Gotta reinforce. 1 sec. I gotta apologize. He's probably gonna land on my head. Okay. So yeah, I guess I should explain that, like, there is friendly fire, and that applies both to like your regular weapons fire as well as like special moves and explosives and airstrikes that you can call in and stuff like that. So you have to be very careful if you do anything that could potentially harm your friends, right? So like if a friend of mine was like over there and I dropped that bomb there and they were nearby, they could absolutely get killed by that. If I walk into their line of fire, then they're probably going to get hit by what I'm doing, or I'm going to get hit and I'm going to die. And there's only a certain number of times that you can reinforce reinforce your teammates if they die. Like you start to run out. There's ways to recuperate it, but yeah, I'm gonna 1 second, just gotta get myself set up here with some actual, like, trying to actually do something to help my teammate out. But yeah, so let's say I started off with a I always get like totally wrapped up in all the explosions and shit. There we go. Let's say I started off with something like a support build that increased the amount of runes that other characters got and the amount of healing that other characters get, but not me. Like that's a certain thing you can get, right? If you kill enemies, you can have a gem that heals your teammates when you kill enemies, but doesn't heal you. So what if I set up all that stuff, and then my other 2 people who rolled with me also had support builds? Now, our support builds function best when we are supporting other builds that aren't support builds. And now all of a sudden we have completely redundant outfits that are, I mean, like at the end of the day, if we all have like increased rune drop or something, it's not like it's going to be bad per se, but it's going to be inefficient, right? It's not going to be covering all of our bases. It's not really going to be what is best for us in the long term as a team. And right now in Elden Ring, in Nightreign, I have no way of knowing what the hell anybody else has equipped, right? As far as I know, unless I missed that, but I'm 30 hours in and I have not seen it. So that one little thing, just being able to see what the fuck your teammates are doing before you start a match, is so huge. Yeah, so if you don't, also, like, I haven't looked at chat in a little bit. If folks are wondering what's going on here, basically, this particular mission type, we have deployed to an area of a city, and I'm about to die. And in that city, obviously, it's being attacked by aliens, and there are these giant alien bugs called the Terminids, and we essentially have to hold this position until we kill enough of the bugs for these like shuttles to escape. Right? So every back here, somewhere around here, are escape shuttles that we're trying to defend. As long as we can hold out long enough, the shuttles get away, the civilians get away that we're trying to protect, and then we can keep the enemies away long enough, etc., right? So every mission, there aren't all that many mission types, but every time you deploy to a level, you're going to be deploying into a space that has a certain narrative associated with it. A lot of times the narrative is pretty simple. Enemy bad, shoot enemy, make enemy die, enemy no alive, no more, democracy win. Like, that's basically it. But at the same time, there are little variations on it that keep it a little bit more interesting, right? Both in terms of the missions that you yourself will be conducting, and also like the narrative implications of those missions as well. So, let's see. Saria says Inspector Gadget has changed a lot. I don't remember that ability. Oh, I'm sorry, I might have missed that. What ability are you referring to with the Inspector Gadget? And I haven't thought about Inspector Gadget in a while either. So see, I'm used to friendly fire. Playing Halo with my bestie was basically, hey, come over here. No, we're supposed to go this way. You're pissing me off. Murdered. Respawn and forced to follow her. That is sounding very, very familiar. Yes. I mean, as long as everybody is chill about it, right? Friendly fire can be a big part of the fun. Yeah, if you're wondering where the screen was, what the fuck is that? shaking just a minute ago. One of the rockets must have launched. So let's see. Aloha, hey, how's it going? Yeah, honestly, it's not far off. There are Souls-like elements to it. Yeah. I remember somebody tried to convince me that Monster Hunter was a Souls-like, and I went and played World for a little while, and I was like, yeah, I mean, you do hit big things with the sword. I wasn't quite seeing it. Feels very different. But I mean, like, yeah, you could say it's the Souls, it's the Dark Souls of extraction shooters. Remember when everybody was saying, like, XY, like, everything has to be the Souls of X, Y, or Z, right? Like, I don't know, Forza Horizon is the Dark Souls of racing games or whatever. Oh yeah, you can kind of see the missiles getting ready to launch, I think. So, sorry, how big is this map? So the map itself is pretty big. It's probably at least half the size of the Nightreign map at the moment, and I think it's like partially procedurally generated because, or there's like a tile set or whatever that winds up getting remixed a bit. Now, right now, we can only see a small portion of the map because our mission is to protect a small area, but yeah, in other missions, you'll deploy to the same city, and you'll just go to other different parts of the city. I think I just destroyed my own fucking turret, so that was smart. Good job. So, yeah. But yeah, it's actually pretty expensive, and there's a bunch of different planets. The different planets have different biomes. They have different, like, you know, there's a jungle one, there's a desert one, there's a, like, a, oh shit. You can die very fast. There's a jungle one, there's a desert one, there's like one that's basically kind of looks like the moon or Mars or something. You know, some feel kind of terrestrial, others feel a little bit more exotic and out there. So. Yeah, so when you die, I think my biggest gripe with Elden Ring right now is the death and resurrection mechanics. So I don't think this would work in particular for Elden Ring, right? Because for Nightreign, because hang on one second, get a turret up, because ultimately, like, when your character dies, like, death is much more prevalent, and I guess it's much easier. That was a total miss. Wow, that sucked. It's much easier and more frequent occurrence to die. There's many more things that can kill you much faster in this game, I think. I mean, it's debatable, but that's definitely my subjective impression of it. And so, like, you'll notice in the upper left-hand corner, there's an icon that says stratagems, and then right under that, there's a little picture of a dude in a helmet with a number. And so that's how many times, like, our team can call in reinforcements, and there's pretty much no cooldown on that. So, like, if 3 of us died and 1 of us was still alive, then I could do this, right? I pull up my little special ability thing called the stratagem ball, stratagem use, or whatever. I don't know what it's called. I bring up the stratagem ball, and then I type in, well, nobody's dead, but I would type in, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I get this little ball, and I can throw it on the ground, right? And then basically anybody who is dead will be resurrected, and it will deplete that number at the upper left. So if 3 people are dead, it'll go from 15 down to 12. If everybody on the squad wipes, then it resurrects us all at once immediately and then reduces it by 4. Now, if it so happens that that number runs out, it goes down to 0, then we're on a cooldown timer, right? So, like, if we deplete all of our uses of resurrections, then by the time the next time somebody dies, we have to wait 2 full minutes, and then we will have 1 more credit. So they start to refill at the rate of like 2 per minute. And so on the one hand, this results in a bit of a skewed experience, right? Because on the one hand, in the early days, when you're not dying, or when you still have a lot of resources left, you're in this great position where you're able to just continually face death and not have it slow you down. And not to mention that when you die, it'll probably happen again soon, you get to redeploy into the battlefield with this really awesome and exciting, whatchamacallit, use of a, you know, you're in like that ODST style drop pod, and you're you're coming down with the music and the lights flashing and the engines roaring and stuff like that, and you can actively participate in your resurrection in a way that I think is super satisfying, super fun. So early game, dying winds up actually becoming kind of funny and honestly like exciting in a way, because if you die, I guess it sucks because you might drop a special weapon that you were carrying, you might drop another resource that was on your body or whatever, you have to go pick it up. It's a little annoying, but you have so many like retries essentially, and you get to ride in the cool rocket ship again. You get to go boom. And if you can control the rocket ship, and if you land it correctly, you can potentially kill an enemy by just even like an elite enemy, a huge enemy, by just smashing the rocket ship into their fucking head on the way down, right? So it's like this thing that could be frustrating and disempowering winds up just becoming another part of the fun. And now, granted, if you abuse that, so to speak, if you don't care about your personal well-being or whatnot, then, okay, you wind up blowing through all your fucking reinforcement credits, and then you now have to play this kind of shitty game of waiting. If anybody on your team dies, then it becomes less fun because you don't have as many... well. It becomes a different kind of fun, right? Because you no longer have the ability to kind of like spam your own death, so to speak, and use it yourself as a bullet by relying on the deployment in the pod and smashing into things and all that fun. You lose that a little bit. But what happens is that the tension overall in the match increases slowly, because the more of that resource you deplete, the more careful and mindful you have to be with your team. And it kind of gradually, gently, like smacks you on the wrist a little bit if you are careless with your lives and with your teammates' lives. It doesn't ever outright punish you. Like, you could be a total troll, you could be a total asshole and kill your teammates the whole time, although they'll probably kick you. But even if they don't, eventually you're just shooting yourself in the foot, literally sometimes, because you are preventing yourself from availing yourself of the resource that you're going to need later. Maybe you like that style of gameplay, though, because at the end of the day, you are now being just sort of gently railroaded into this experience of like, okay, well, now we got to be more careful, maybe more stealthy, etc., more mindful with our weaponry, etc., etc. So, yeah, sorry for that voice spike there. Yes, sorry, it's kind of like a constant, like, adaptive difficulty in a sense, right? Like, the game will get harder and harsher on you if you don't pay attention to what the fuck you're doing. But you have plenty of opportunity to mess around and have fun and play around before things get more serious, I guess, right? So I didn't honestly do very well in that map because I was multitasking. I didn't explain a lot of what was going on. But essentially, the idea is that hang on 1 second. This was the weapon I wanted to equip. Got confused. Let me take a second to change my equipment a little bit. Yeah, okay. So, the idea is that there's a variety of different tools you can use on your missions. Some are like airstrikes that you call in. And when you actually call in an airstrike, it's not just, let's say that you're facing off against like a bug nest and you want to blow it up. Right? It's not just you you punch into your phone or whatever, like, hey, I need help. Somebody locate a bug nest near me and then blow it up for me, right? You have to actually pull out that little sphere. You have to throw the sphere and aim it and hit it correctly on the location that you want the airstrike to deploy. And then when the airstrike deploys, it's always coming from your ship, right? So if you ask for like a, like a strafing run from the F-16 equivalent in this game, right? It essentially will deploy that ship back there. Not that one specifically. Where's the other one? It will send a ship out from your ship, and it will leave this mothership and then head down and do the strafing run and then come back. If you ask for orbital cannons or lasers or anything like that, these cannons on the exterior of the ship are the things that fire. And if you look up from the planet into orbit, you see, we can actually see some now, right? Like, if you look up from orbit down to the planet, we can actually see our own ship doing the work, so to speak. And I think I'm going to leave this because nothing's happening. I believe that all the other ships that we see over the planet represent other players online, and when we see those events happening, um, just like in Dark Souls 1, when somebody rings the bell and the undead perish and you're in the area, you can hear a bell ring if you're online. I think it's the same thing, where other people are accomplishing things, they're engaging in their own battles, and you can kind of see what they're up to. So I haven't confirmed this, right? So don't quote me on this, but I believe that all of those other ships out there are other players that are deployed to this particular planet and fighting currently. And when they summon in airstrikes and shit like that, you can actually see them going off on those other ships. Now, granted, some of that is probably getting like fudged a little bit. I don't know if they're tracking every single player event, but if you look on the right over here next to the globe, you can kind of see that, you know, there are 28,000 people playing on this planet right now. They've killed a million, like over 170 million enemies, right? And you can kind of see on the left, there's an overall mission. Like the overall goal here, I think, is to defend the planet against alien invasion for a certain amount of time. So you can see like how much of the planet is still being held. Every time you deploy to one of these zones, even if it's fake, even if it's just smoke and mirrors, you're being told as a player, hey, what you do matters, even if it's only a teeny, teeny, teeny little amount. Like, you're deploying with other people who are actively involved in this war. The war is ongoing. It's always shifting and changing. But you're going to be part of it if you just choose where you want to participate, where you want to deploy. And so I kind of did a quick play before. I didn't really show off this whole thing. Let's say I wanted to fight the bugs again, right? And I don't know what's going on. I don't want to do a quick play. I'm a little skeptical, a little hesitant. Well, I can look at the major orders that are going on the right. And basically, these are like world events that are saying, okay, these are the major objectives that are happening. Here's some objectives for you as a person individually. Here's some objectives that the whole community is aspiring towards, etc. If you look at the little pings over here, those concentric circles, rather, yeah, the pings. You're like, oh, something's going on over here. Let's check this out. So I click over here. Zooms in, and now I can see all the planets in this sector of space. And I don't know if every single one of them is one that you can fight on or fly to, but I think most of them are. Like, they have, you know, some of them looks like they got blown up recently, but all of them have like some kind of I'm pretty sure I've fought on this planet before. It's just being held by the Terminids at the moment, right? So all of these places are places that have names, they have different tile sets, they have different environments, biomes, and stuff like that. And so you can choose which one you want to actually deploy to. If I go to this one, you know, I can't go here because it's like totally occupied, I think, or the fight is not happening here currently. But I could decide, okay, you know, this is an active quest that's happening here. There's a special type of enemy over here. Maybe I'll jump in and help my friends. This one, man, you know, there's not so much going on here. There's not so much action. Maybe I want something a little more low key, right? There's a lot of opportunity for you to explore and find the thing that's just right for you, and also to choose like how much you want to be directly involved in the ongoing narrative. And if you're like, I'm fucking tired of fighting the bugs, go over here, fight some robots instead, right? Same thing. There's stuff going on over here. You can choose to fight the robots instead. It really does kind of depend on what you personally want. There's so much freedom of expression, freedom of choice, etc., etc. So, do I think Nightreign would benefit from all of this granularity? Honestly, no. When you add all of these different options in, you run the risk of overwhelming the player, and unless you want that to be what your game is about, it could be a little distracting, a little overwhelming. But that being said, in and of itself, for what it is, very, very well done. Very simple, very intuitive, easy to understand, easy to get into, very deep if you want to kind of go through and explore it in depth, but also like very simple and easy. You know what? You're just like, I don't fucking care. Give me something to shoot. I want it to be 5 hard and go. Stop talking to me. Give me a gun, right? Just press the button and then you're in. So I guess what I want to emphasize here is that the process of choosing a mission is fun. The process of deploying into a mission is fun. The process of prepping for a mission with whether it's like people who are right there with you or whether it's people that you are just meeting for the first time, that is fun as well. The process of dying is sometimes frustrating, but redeploying is fun. Saving your teammates is fun, right? Like, I think I'll show it off in a little bit more detail later, but when your teammate dies, like I mentioned before, in order to resurrect them, you have to grab that little sphere and you have to input the right cheat code, essentially. Right? Oh, we're doing the same rocket mission again, sorry. Should have picked another one. But yeah, you have to like pick a cheat code again. So yeah, you might have noticed that I... Oh, whoops, I thought there was something there. 1 second. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I got a little distracted. Oh, he's gonna hug. Yeah. Okay. Got the chest bump emote too. Yeah, so basically... So if you... I'll try to explain this quickly. So if I press the correct button on the left, it pops up this little panel. And then if I want a machine gun to show up, I have to press the right code in. So I have to press down, up, right, right, up. And then I get this little sphere. And if I throw the sphere down over there, then you'll notice that there will be a blue light that comes. The blue light is coming from the ship. And notice this little rocket pod comes down. Bang, crash into the ground, and it deploys. It's kind of hard to see, but you can kind of see it deploys my little turret, and the turret starts shooting. If I want to summon a ship to come in and help me clear some enemies, right? So I throw the airstrike there. There's the beacon. Let's see. You can kind of see. There goes my ship. Or my like jet that came directly from the ship, and it'll be ready to go in just a couple of seconds. So, you know, everything that you do is completely, I guess, like immersed, so to speak. Like, it's completely diegetic. It has a narrative context as well as a gameplay context and a mechanical context, I guess, that kind of fits in with the overall like story of the world and all that shit, right? So feels really great too. They could have just given us a button like in Overwatch, you know, you want, oh, I want to use Reaper's ultimate and kill everything near me, or oh, I want to like activate Tracer's dash or whatever, right? The single button press. But everything here isn't just a single button press. Also, Christmas is happening over there. And the Christmas tree is a fucking Tesla coil. Love it. But yeah, it's everything is a little mini game, right? So think about which would be more fun, if I just pressed a button and all of a sudden I had a machine gun, or if I'm like, oh shit, I'm under enemy fire. I really need some extra firepower. Let's see, I need an expendable anti-tank. I need something to take down a big enemy. Down, down, left, up, right. Bringing it in. Like, okay, let's crouch down. Let's get out of the way. We don't want to get hit by it. Here it's coming in from the sky. And that's the same sort of thing I come down in too. Okay, cool. Now I got an extra weapon. Awesome, right? Deployed from the pod. Yeah, everything just feels, I don't know. They've done so much great work to make everything feel like a part of the... It really makes you feel like Spider-Man. Feel like this is a living, breathing, organic world full of bullets and democracy and hate. But yeah, so I don't know, if it really feels like they've looked for as many different aspects of the game to try to make fun as possible, which is why I went with my title for the stream, which was, you know, never don't have fun. There are definitely parts of this game that I don't always have fun with. There are parts of this game that are very frustrating from time to time, but the developers, Arrowhead I think they're called, have really tried to make like just the act of opening your inventory and taking something out of it essentially fun. It's its own little mini game. Dying is fun. It's its own little mini game, right? Etc. 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 So the games that I find the most the most compelling and like enduring, I guess, for me, like I've said before, are those that I think have what I call, this is my pretentious like douchebag game developer term, but thematic unity, when everything in the game is connected to everything else in the game in a way that like fits and is consistent. So I think the story, the aesthetic, I just noticed the rain coming in and the angle. Is that new? I don't think it was there before. Look at the little splishes on the screen. It reminds me of Metroid Prime. So everything, to me anyway, everything in this game just comes together in such a delightful way. You know, not to mention like the sounds and the graphics and the explosions and everything. The experience of just existing in the game is fun and satisfying and cool. That's it. I feel like you've quoted me on the dying is fun thing um, before, Saria. Yeah, hey kids, dying is fun. In video games, don't do it for real. Hey kids, please don't die. Just want to make that message very clear. Dying is for nerds. Oh wait, I'm a nerd. Fuck. What do I do now? Give me a gun. Yeah. Oh, you never played any of the Duke Nukem games? They are definitely products of their time, so to speak, right? Like, I think there's a certain kind of sense of humor and charm that comes with the Duke Nukem games that can be very, I don't know, charming, but also pretty crude, not super great with how they treat ladies in the game. I mean, like, Duke Nukem Forever was, if it were satire and if it were self-aware, it would kind of be a masterpiece, but it was serious, and it was like, I don't know, what was that game? Had like a fucking 12-year development time or something, and then it was one of, like, still is one of the worst games ever made. Oh shit, hang on. Fucker. So some enemy types, you know, you're not seeing a whole lot of different enemy types yet because I've kind of been focused on like chatting and stuff, but there are a lot of different types of enemies, and some of them are invisible. Oh shit, I'm in the fucking minefield. No, 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 no. So yeah, I just got fucking murked, but that was super funny. I was out of position, and I had like the fucking Christmas tree from hell, just like shitting. I'm back in the same spot. No, fuck. So yeah, I mean, like, for some people this might be frustrating. For me, it might be frustrating depending on how tryhard I am. But I mean, I think it's pretty hilarious. I think I was just trying to say that there's lots of different enemy types. I think I'll try, after this, I'll try a match that is a bit more like try hard, I guess, because I want to be able to show off some of those different things. And I'll be maybe a little less chatty, just kind of show off some gameplay. But yeah, another thing that's really, I'm going to piss off my teammates here by opening up this door and making us vulnerable, but screw it, I want to be inside now. Another thing that's kind of, hang on, okay, yeah, see, I'm going to try to reinforce my teammates. And it's really cool because, like, once you start to like use the stratagems a few times, you start to get the muscle memory for it, and it's kind of like playing a chord on the piano. And so, to me, every time a teammate dies, it's like an excuse for me to show off. Like, I get excited about it because I'm like, oh yeah, I can do the code. Da, 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 da. Yeah, they're back in, right? And you feel like a boss, right? And it really, you can pull some of that shit off in Nightreign as well. But honestly, so much of the resurrection in Nightreign is just, it feels so limp. Like, it feels like you're just, I don't know, trying to break down a brick wall with a wet piece of spaghetti. Honestly, you're just like flailing away at them, and it's so frustrating because if you don't manage to do enough damage, like if somebody is has like 3 of the death counters, like they've died 3 times, they have 3 little counters, and you want to resurrect them, and you like run out of stamina or something for a second, you have to go heal or whatever, then all of those 3 things will come back. And I just had a match with a recluse earlier today where I was like, I literally spent 2 full minutes trying to resurrect someone, and then I just had to walk away because I physically couldn't do it in time. They just kept resurrecting. I was like, fuck it. Like, I am becoming a liability trying to help my team. We gotta go deal with the boss. And it sucks. Like, maybe this is just me being stupid, right? That's always a possibility. I mean, if you've met me, you know this is a very real possibility. But I feel like Helldivers has more, I guess, buffers in place for the stupid in order to try to account for that sort of thing. Right? So, hello, friend. Hello. Also, there's NPCs that can kind of fight with you. Oh, I'm gonna take a drink of water before the next wave. 1,000 years from now, someone will uncover these videos and they'll find dying is fun, John the Maven. It will be remembered as some kind of philosophical passage for future generations. I mean, that's what I'm here for, right? I'm here to educate and entertain. This is an edutainment stream. Step 1. If you're alive, Consider the alternative. No, please, just to be very clear. Wait, honestly, I hope that we are currently in the best, in like the good timeline where humanity gets its shit sorted out and we all develop a utopian society and all that shit, and we do just fine. But you know, if it so happens that we wipe ourselves out over the next century or whatever, and then 10,000 years pass, and then you know, like in Near Automata or something like that, and then the next generation of human evolution or whatever, whoever comes next is sifting through the ashes, and they find like Angry Birds and Lay Epic Maymays and I don't know, fucking what is it called, Dame tu cosita and Despacito and stuff, and they're like, what the fuck was wrong with these guys? I actually kind of like Despacito, but you know what I mean, right? There's just so much of like, or Skibidi Toilet. Skibidi Toilet is like the quintessential example, right? Because I love Skibidi Toilet. I think that whole like universe is fucking brilliant. I think the animators plural behind it are genuinely extremely creative. And I think like hating on Skibidi Toilet because it's popular amongst young people is lame and cringe. But you can hate on it for other reasons if you must. But you know, I think it's really good. But that being said, how the fuck do you explain all the layers of irony to even a human being who you live with today, let alone to future civilizations, right? I tried to explain to my partner Skibidi Toilet, and I just she genuinely tried to understand. She's like, I can't, no, head in the toilet, it doesn't make sense. So I don't know. I'd be genuinely curious if they unearth like or if our enduring relics are like top 99 Germa 985 moments or something. Great. You died, time for the hacker man, Cesaria. Yeah. It feels cool. I got like my cool little data pad over here. I can summon him whenever I want. And it really does feel like you're learning like a little shitty guitar riff or something that just happens to blow up an entire city block. Let's see. Sorry says, I don't think it's a you thing. I've seen a lot of Elden Ring speedrunners and challengers say the same thing. Granted, they're probably not the best gauge, but still. Oh, yeah, you mean about, like, the frustration and all that? Yeah. It's one of those things where, I kind of think I've said this before, but, like, when I don't know what the solution is for a given problem, I'm pretty hesitant to try to... or it tempers my anger towards it, so to speak. Where I'm like, I really don't like that resurrection mechanic, okay? But now I'm imagining that I get hired to work for From Software. First of all, yes, please hire me now. Second, though, actually, it's kind of my dream to work for From Software. Also, I kind of never want to work for them because I always want to just experience their games as a consumer, right? Like, that's the one studio that I don't ever want to, like, I don't know, see behind the scenes because I don't want to have anything spoiled or, like, it's really hard to play a game, you know, if you've worked on it, it just, like, changes the way that you engage with it, right? Usually, by the time you're done working on it, you never want to see the fucking thing again. Honestly, because you're just so tired. But, yeah, like, I've tried to go back and play some of the games that I've worked on before, and it can be fun, but it's not the same at all. I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess I'll stick with these guys. See, that's the nice thing, too, is that once you deploy with a squad, at the end of the mission, you can decide whether or not you want to stick together and deploy for another round. And if so, it'll just keep on matching you in missions that you can choose and all that. Oh, actually, I hope that they show that actual process, because the way that it compares to Elden Ring, I really hope that Elden Ring, Nightreign specifically, picks up on this, right? Because you'll see what I mean. Sorry says, I agree about Skibidi Toilet. Like, I always tell people, dude, you're saying this is brain rot, but was our comedy also not considered the same? thing to past generations. Let people have fun. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, honestly, like I'm surprised at how fast that happened to my generation, right? Like we grew up. I think this is probably true of every generation, right? At least in recent history, like past century, I would guess, maybe longer. But like parents not understanding the art and the hello the art and the music that their kids are into is just such a well established thing, right? Like my mom just like did not understand my music, her parents didn't understand hers, etc., etc. So um when you're a kid, part of at least for me, I was always like, yeah, I'm never gonna be hang on one second, I'm trying to decide what weapon I want. I guess we'll do this one. Oh, the Blitzer's probably pretty good. Yeah. Okay. Um, you know, I really hate the fact that my mom or whatever is so lame about the music that I'm into. She's giving me so much shit for it. So I'll tell you what, though, when I get older, I'm never gonna hold the next generation again. Hang on, hang on, pause. So look what's happening over here. My teammate is picking a spot, and I am M2, and I can move my mouse around, and I can ping. So I can be like, let's go to this location. Let's try that objective, etc., etc. I can basically try to nudge my team to pick a deployment spot, and then once they've decided, they can actually pick a spot on the map to spawn into. And also, if I decide that I just want to be a cheeky bastard, I can shit. Hang on, I gotta decide. Let me recap all that in just a second. They're waiting for me. I feel bad. Okay. This is a very not optimal loadout, but whatever. Yeah, sorry. So that little grid that you saw just there, before you start a mission, when you're deploying with your friends or your teammates rather, or both hopefully, you can pick a spot that you want to start on the map. You just get a very, compressed, very simplified version of the map, and then you can pick a spot where you want to start. You can either pick a spot that's directly don't drink and drive, yes, thank you. You can either pick a spot that's directly in the middle of the action. You can pick one that's a little further off, so you can kind of get your bearings first. And of course, you can you can spam the outside of the perimeter, and you can be like, I want to go here, I want to go here, and the here that you're referring to is completely off the map. So, even that is a lot of fun. You can basically just troll your team, and it doesn't really affect anybody negatively, right? It's just kind of a goofy thing. Now, here, our brilliant team leader decided to spawn us directly into the middle of a fucking bug nest in the rain, although he didn't control the weather, I'm sure. But yeah, generally speaking, you want to have a chance to survey the terrain and go in when you're ready. But also, fuck it, sometimes you just want to spawn directly inside Margit and then figure out how to fight your way out, right? To use an Elden Ring analogy, a cheeky bastard. It's a little bit cheeky, very cheeky, John. A team touch. Yeah. So I mean, here's the thing. I find all of this fucking hilarious, but it's also super goofy. And if you were looking for, if you're like, yeah, I'm gonna get together with the squad tonight, and we're gonna deploy. We're gonna be tactical. We're gonna be efficient. We're gonna be effective. We're gonna be optimized and ruthless. We're gonna get in, get the job done, and get out. And then you just you see what happened, right? Like, I understand that might interfere with some people's fun. People have different ideas of fun. So when I say like that Helldivers does X, Y, or Z thing particularly well, I am not saying that is the only way to have fun or the only way to make a game. And I understand that some of the things that I am describing as being oh so fun might be antithetical to fun for other people. So part of what I admire about this game, though, is that they fucking hell they decided, okay, we are going to define fun in this particular way, And okay, now that we agree on our definition of fun, our personal definition of fun, now let's try to sculpt as much of the game around that as possible and make as much of the game in service to that version of fun as possible, as opposed to try to imagine every possible version of fun and cover all those bases, right? You can play this game in stealth, but it's not really a stealth game. You can play this game solo, but it's a multiplayer game. And I think that they picked their battles and they give you the options to kind of... Shit. I feel like I got my foot in my mouth now because I know there are people who play solo stealth missions and do very well and have a lot of fun. So those were bad examples. I'll retract that. But I guess I'm trying to say is that one way or another, you get the impression, I get the impression that Arrowhead Studios had a very, very clear design philosophy for this game. And they were very effective at orienting the whole fucking game around that philosophy and executing that on that in a consistent way. Also, nice that we have a mini map that we can kind of zoom in and out of, just like Elden Ring. Also, we have the ability to put pins. And listen to the dialogue real quick. I know it's super simple, but once the fanfare is over. Come on, do it again. Cooldown's too long. Okay, hang on. How do I do it? Okay, so you'll notice that, like, as I start to identify places on the game map that I want my team to go to, northwest 200 meters, right? Like, there's always a line of voiceover that helps reinforce what I'm doing. Oh, sorry, there's another person speaking in the game. And so, like, it seems to use the 4 cardinal directions and also have, like, it's either, like, close, far, and then there's a few meters. It's like 20, 50, 100, something like that, or 200 meters, something like that, right? So, damn, nice. Oh, wait, there's a bug breach. Let's get this in there. Shit. I will say that sometimes the damage is, like, a bit excessive. But it's okay. Anyway, all I'm trying to say with all this is that, I don't know, I actually kind of find the act of placing pins on the map to be pretty fun, because every time you do, you get, like, a little, your teammates get a little ping. They see something on their mini-map. They know exactly where you've pinned things. And, yeah, I don't know, it's just... It feels cool to have your character be like, 1 second. To be like, yes, 50 clicks of my position or whatever, There's an enemy over here of this type. I'm going for this objective. It's this far away in this direction, etc., etc., etc. It's, feels cool. A lot of good variation in weaponry as well. Noticing that I'm switching between a couple of different weapons. I do feel like the primary weapons in the game are the least fun, or like, not least fun, but how can I say, the least exciting and consistently reliable in my experience. Like, that's not even the right word for it either, but like, I am always excited to call in one of these. And this is a waste for my... Oh, shit. I think I just wiped my team. I'm sorry. Okay, that was close. I'm always excited to call in one of those because it always looks fucking cool and always accomplishes something. But, a lot of times I feel like my primary weapons are kind of lame. They either have a serious caveat or they just don't pack the same punch that I would want them to, or they're just inconsistent or something. So I feel like the most significant place this game has to grow, so to speak, would be in making the primaries feel more satisfying. But I don't have all the DLC, so to speak, so maybe there's stuff that I haven't seen yet. But yeah, as you can see, Saria, like, we're now on a longer mission. Yeah, you saw the electricity gun. I gotta be careful though, because the bolts of electricity will arc to anyone who is near, so it will arc between different enemies, which makes it very effective at crowd clearing, but also if teammates are nearby. Super hacker. They will also bring in, you know, sorry, like the electricity will also harm my teammates if I'm not careful, so I'm gonna be careful. Yeah, and Ruger in the bottom right, I don't know if you guys can see the chat there, but he's saying like he's been team killed, but he doesn't mind it, right? So let's see over here. Yeah, so it's weird. Elden Ring and in Nightreign, when I play as Wilder, I don't really, who's probably, how can I say this? It's funny to me that like when I play as Wilder, I only ever use the Great Sword, and when I play as, you know, Iron Eye, who's my second favorite character, maybe my favorite character, I only ever really use the small or like medium regular size bow, whatever you call it. Like I don't tend to use the great bows or the ballistae, but it's really fucking dark. Hang on one second. Just run in there. Yeah, I gotta focus for 1 sec. Didn't realize how many we are. I'm gonna try not to hit my teammate's little flame turret there, but the flame turrets can target you too. So if I put down a machine gun turret or something like that and I'm not careful, right, like my teammate can actually get scorched by it. I can't believe I totally forgot to use my guard dog as well. Okay. Yeah, I haven't talked that much about the healing mechanic, but basically kind of like Estus flasks, you get 4 healing items. They're obviously restored when you are brought back to life, but they your stamina and your health are both restored when you use the healing item, the stim. And if you're at low stamina, so you see the stamina is like that white bar at the bottom of the screen. So if I start sprinting and my stamina starts going down, and if I were at 0 stamina, it would slow me down. And so I can actually decide to use my stim to overclock my stamina and give myself like an extra burst of it. So the healing item has multiple uses. Well, for one, you can heal your teammates if they run out. For 2, you can choose to use it just for health or for stamina. You can use it to basically like enable yourself to quickly cover longer distances, or you can use it to bail yourself out of trouble. Right? So even something like that is it's almost like a Zelda item, you know, like a Zelda weapon, where you'll have multiple primary uses for that weapon, if that makes sense. But it can be very expressive and flexible. I like my partners like I like my hell diving. Expressive and flexible. There we go. Oh, I gotta catch up on chat. I'm sorry. Are you calling that guy leader? Made me think of Raphael sarcastically telling Leonardo, "No, a fearless leader in TMNT." Yeah. Have you seen the I don't remember what it's called. The recent one that came out that was animated, like The Secret of the Ooze or something like that. I wanted to see that. The animation style looks super cool. Let's see. Although, so yeah, see, that was super fun. It's so fucking cool to bring your teammates in like that. It's so cool. I love that so much. It honestly might be my favorite thing to do in the game. Is just to like punch in the team resurrection. And like healing or like being the role of a support or a medic or whatever is almost always like kind of lame. It's never as exciting or fun as well, not never, but like that's a stereotype, right? Like being the healer is like you get the tanks and they're taking all the damage, and you get the rogues, they're dishing out all the damage, and you've got the you know, the paladins or like the mages, they're out there casting all kinds of cool spells, and I'm healing, I'm in the back, I'll be I'll be here when you need me, guys. Remember me. Don't forget about me. You know, like, that's the stereotype of the healer. Obviously, there's some things like, I don't know, Shadow Priest in, thank you. Thanks a lot, buddy. Um, in World of Warcraft, and maybe it's changed since I played. I haven't played World of Warcraft in like 15 years or 10 years. Yeah, 10 years. Um, so maybe it's changed. But like so often the healing classes are kind of dinky and kind of boring and stuff. Now I know like I'm not a healer per se, but the act of resurrection has a similar function, right? Where you're taking somebody from a low or no health state and you're restoring them to a playable health state, and it feels fucking cool every single time. And yeah, they just so much of the toxicity that's generated from like online communities is feeling like you go from being in control, or not online community, sorry, from like online play, is feeling like you have something urgent to do in the game. Let me start over with that. But like, I I think I've narrowed down one of the primary sources of frustration in like any online game, at least in my experience, and it is when you are in the zone, you are engaged, it doesn't have to be having fun per se. You could just be like kind of tense and trying to achieve an objective under some anxiety or whatever, like positive anxiety. But either way, you are urgently trying to perform a task. You are currently engaged in that task, and then something interrupts you and takes you out of the task entirely, and then you try to get back into it, but you have that limited or removed agency and you cannot get back into it. There's something blocking you from doing so, and you don't have anything else, like anywhere else to put the energy that you were just investing in the task in front of you. That generates fucking enormous amounts of frustration, and if you think somebody else is responsible for that or contributed to that, or if they're just near you at the time, you're going to get really upset and you're going to take that upset out on them. So one of the ways that Helldivers addresses this is by making it really funny when you die most of the time, and also making it really cool when you come back, and making it really cool for other people to bring you back, and for you to bring other people back. So yes, you will be very briefly removed from that sense of agency, and it can be kind of frustrating, I guess. But, you know, at the same time, anytime somebody anytime somebody dies, there's like this almost little competition where we're all trying to like scramble to be the one that like calls the teammate in the fastest, and then we get to see them deploy in, and it's exciting and it's cool. So Helldivers 2 doesn't like frustrate you because it doesn't give you any fucking time to be frustrated. It's like, stop being angry. Let's go, go, go. We got bugs to kill. We got teammates to bring in. We got shit to blow up. Democracy will not wait for your bullshit. So that's part of why I like this game so much, part of why I keep coming back to it. Yeah, there are times where like I've gotten super frustrated in a mission, like I've tried to eat my keyboard in rage. It's just been the worst is when you're fighting the robots and they have all these attacks that constantly just like stun you, and if like you get, because that does do what I'm, yeah, so what just happened there was some explosion or whatever knocked me over, and when you are urgently trying to move around and jump and dodge and strafe and everything, and then like something knocks you over, then you enter that state of reduced agency and frustration, and it really, really, really sucks when there are enemies shooting you at a distance, blowing you down, knocking you over, and completely making it impossible for you to get back up over and over and over again. So you're just like constantly stun locked. It gets more and more frustrating the longer this happens, and then you just like, yeah, try to eat your keyboard, go to the dentist. That's not fun. That's expensive. Ruins your whole weekend. Don't ask me how I know this. Good game. Sorry says, I couldn't be in this world. I'm already someone with bad vision. You give me a gun in the dark of night with my horrible aim, I'm going to kill more of humanity than I would aliens. That's fine. Yeah, it's understandable. I'll see if I can pick one where it's fucking light out. Like, I realize I've been basically in a dark room with my phone. That's the equivalent of this playthrough so far. It's been like I'm in my closet with no light source with my phone type lighting. Sorry, he says I'm a healer in Disney Heroes battle mode, and I get so frustrated when people get upset with me for not saving everyone, and I'm just like, we're a 5-player team, someone else should be a healer with me. Yeah, I mean, like, I know the song is a little goofy or possibly cringy depending on your taste, but do you know that song No Mercy, from like the Overwatch parody song, and the guy's like, okay, why don't I know, like, I'll pick McCree. Oh, I already chose McCree. Oh, I'll pick Bastion then. Nerf Bastion, don't play him. He's like he's like broken, whatever, right? And it goes through all of the different characters that the guy wants to play, and there's literally an excuse for why they're not allowed to, and so they're just forced into the role of a healer, if I'm remembering the narrative correctly. And then after all that, they play the healer, and then everybody else is like, why weren't you keeping us alive? You're supposed to heal things. It's your responsibility to do that, right? It's like, how about you try to heal ever? How about you try to do anything useful ever instead of obstructing me at every pass? I might not be fully versed in the No Mercy lore, but I'm sure you've experienced that exact thing, right? Like, they expect that just because someone is like queued up as the healer class, that means that like they are just a little battery that constantly makes other people not be dead. Like, no, you have to position yourself. You have to protect your healer, right? So, okay, let me pick someplace that's not fucking night. Okay, I think the little sunny icon means it's daytime. Right. Peacekeeping operation. Tactically eliminate all obstacles standing in the way of peace. Okay. Says... There's nobody on this planet? What the hell? There's 40,000.
This world needs your righteous extermination, Helldiver.
Night Bile Titans. Does this day? Bile Titan missions are fun. Okay. Yeah, so I'll try this one. Give you guys a chance to see some of the like higher tier enemies as well. What the fuck was that? A little bit of a bug. Oh, I bet they just wrapped up their previous mission or something. Yeah, okay. Hopefully we can get started soon. Okay, so I think they're already in the mission. I just gotta get ready. Sorry, says, yes, exactly. I literally had somebody say, you're a Rapunzel main. You can't keep us alive. And the only reason we get as far as we do, of course we'll get overpowered eventually. Yes. It's not your responsibility to just, like, passively negate every stupid thing your team does. What's the best healing class, like the most fun you've ever had playing a healing class? What game would that have been in? Yeah, over here is fine. Here. Okay. So let's see. I'll try a couple of different things. I mean, I usually pick the same shit every single time. But I'll try and pick a couple of different things to kind of show off. So I haven't talked much about this. I'll talk about it when we're actually in the mission so that I'm not, spending too much time here and keeping other people waiting. But just kind of go over, just pay attention to what I'm excuse me, doing for a second. And I will explain later. Oh, yeah, I was going to say previously that, like, when I play... I totally lost my train of thought. When I play Elden Ring and I play as Wilder, I usually just use the Greatsword. And that Greatsword moveset is so simple. It's not super versatile or whatever. There's not, like, a ton of different movesets or whatever associated with it. But it just feels so simple and satisfying. I never feel fatigued with it after, like, dozens of hours. Or maybe more like 10 hours. Same thing with the bow, right? Like, the bow combo for Iron Eye with the basic bow type is the same fucking animation 4 times in a row, and I never really feel tired with it. I'm not exactly sure why that is. I think it's probably because the feedback of like drawing back the bow and the way that that animation works and the sound effect works and everything, there is a consistent, solid sense of feedback where there's a pretty much one-to-one relationship between you attacking something and you succeeding in doing at least something, right? It never, unless you're going up against like a Crucible Knight or something, it never feels frustrating and unempowering to use the bow. It's always like consistently satisfying for the most part. And same thing for Wilder's Greatsword. I really do hope they have a ping system that they put in. I will say I like this weapon a lot, the plasma grenade launcher. It's not the best by any means, but yeah. So, oh yeah, well that's the other thing. There are some weapons in this game that are just so fucking cool. So one of the ones that I got right now is called the Wasp launcher, and it's great because it doesn't. I don't think it even lets you target minor enemies. It's just for like medium to large. Oh shit! I just went invisible. It was cool. What the fuck? Oh, he got me. It was you know, one of those things that oh yeah, did you see that one? It just like went invisible right in front of us. I never seen them do that before. That was cool. Yeah, so all this is just to say, yeah, they're obviously new players. I'm not entirely sure what they're doing. That's cool. You see, people are really polite even when they blow you up. I'm sorry for destroying every organ in your body. Yeah. So yeah, this you can kind of see. You just use it there. This particular weapon, the Wasp launcher, is great because God damn it. It's great because it's actually completely fucking useless on if you're just trying to use it to target a small enemy. You have to target a medium-sized enemy at minimum with it. And it is very good at taking out God damn it. At taking out medium-sized enemies when the situation calls for it. But you have to understand. Okay, hang on. I might need a second. Oh fuck. Okay. All right. What the fuck is happening? So this can also happen. Right? It's okay. Get the reinforcement in. And back up and get the rocket launcher that this guy dropped. Recoilless. No ammo in the recoilless. Okay, and I'm gonna die. Yeah, they've definitely amped up the difficulty of these fucking basic bugs. Yeah, I need to concentrate for a second. Sorry. Okay, I was not expecting that level of team killing right off the bat. That's funny. Yeah, so hang on. I gotta drop the weapon I stole from my friend. And now I gotta find the shit that I dropped too, because otherwise... There we go. Oh, I took the wrong... Okay. I was wondering why I wasn't... Yeah, I'm so this is one of the caveats of playing this game for a while, is that you start to develop a muscle memory of the particular things that you prefer, and then if you don't have those in your inventory anymore, then you go and like... God damn it. You go to try to use those things, and you're inputting the data, and you're like, damn it, where's my 500 kg? Where's my like high explosive? Like, you know, where's my strafing run? Just not coming in, right? So this is going absolutely horribly. I am contributing nothing to the team. My teammates are killing me. But it's still kind of fun, right? Okay, let me see. Sorry, says, holy smokes, this map actually looks so cool. Yeah. It's there's a lot of variety to the maps, and like the way that the maps change over the course of the day night cycle too can be a lot of fun. Are they supposed to go invisible? Yeah, they can. It's a special type of enemy called a stalker, and the way that they work is that, yeah, basically they have like a little cloak that they can do. Yeah, so you notice as I'm like, sorry, one of the things I really like about this weapon is that, yes, it go shoot, it go boom, it make thing die, But, 1 second.
Calling down supplies.
I totally lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah, so it's, genuinely cool to just, like, see things go boom with the Wasp launcher. But also, it's neat that you can use it to, scout, essentially, right? Like, if you're concerned about there being an invisible enemy nearby, you could just, you could blow it up. You can blow up the area or whatnot. But you can also just kind of like scan around really quick and like, okay, this isn't going to help me defeat any minor enemies, but if there's something hiding behind a corner or at a distance, I could potentially pick it off. I could potentially at least get a little blip, right? So the weapon never mentions that like this is useful for scouting or whatever. It's literally just something that you have to discover on your own. But a lot of the weapons do have little like extra effects like that make them more useful as you get more familiar with them, right? So, and then just like the way that this weapon works by like sending up those individual little like seeking rockets, oh, it's so satisfying. And they can do splash damage, so even though you can't lock onto small enemies, if you're tactical about it, you can actually blow up things in an area. Also, the range, like the dynamic range that you have as a player, you know, you have everything from like tiny little pistol to this napalm barrage that lasts like a half of a minute and covers an entire area in like basically just cooks the entire area, right? Now, of course, if my teammates wander in there, then they're also getting cooked as well. So I have to be very careful about it. But I picked those specific things because I wanted to start to show off the range of different things you can bring into a map. Now, Nightreign, by comparison, is much more focused, right? It's much more conservative with that stuff. But that's okay. You know, it's not necessarily a flaw. But like, take these little pustules over here. Essentially, what this thing is, or was, is it will, god damn it, it will spawn enemies at regular intervals, right? So if you come across them, you'll often get like a mission objective, whatever, asking you to destroy it, and if you don't, it will continue to spew out enemies for you, and obviously that's not ideal. But in order to close them, you have to have some sort of explosive. So you can use a grenade, which everybody has as standard. You can try to use an explosive weapon. You can use an orbital call-in to try to damage it from above, or you can just try to blow up the entire area. So, there's nothing in Nightreign, for example, that really requires that level of planning and forethought. Not that it's necessary, like, not that we have to. Hang on 1 second. You know, not that you need that for the game to be good or anything like that. But there's nothing that, in your loadout that's really going to have that dramatic of an effect on the map. The nearest thing that I can think of is like, if you are a sorcerer, you're gonna want to go to the rises and do the rise puzzles. But I mean, that's pretty much it, right? You're not gonna have to make sure that you bring what the fuck that you bring a gem with you in order to access the rises in the first place. This weapon is great. He said his Hellstorm was released upon him. Says sorry. Yeah, I mean, like, if the weapons in this game are not causing carnage and chaos to yourself and teammates, and then maybe also the enemies as a bonus, then something is going wrong. You've laughed at so much death, you might have to be put on watch list, Mr. John. The government will be watching you with deep interest. Hey, I laugh in the name of democracy. It just so happens that democracy includes like mass dissemination of highly explosive materials. What could be more democratic than that? I mean, yeah. So, speaking of which, you might have seen this thing looming in the distance. Oh yeah, if you look up there, you can see one of the super destroyers, like one of our. I think this might be mine or it might be one of my teammates, but yeah, they're up there. There's one. Another one kind of hiding behind the clouds. The idea here is that there are little Fortnite tasks, or not Fortnite, Among Us tasks that the game gives you. So this one, for example, you can discover this kind of out-of-use artillery cannon, and if you take the time to actually load it up with spare ammunition, you can use it later in the match. So first of all, you get experience and rewards for just activating it in the first place. But also now, if you look in your stratagems, you notice that in the upper left, the third one from the top, says Sief Artillery. Well, this is the Sief Artillery. And now we've gained ourselves like 5 additional like explosive call-ins. 5 additional explosive call-ins that we can use at some point before the end of the mission. So when we have an opportunity to how can I say? I think Nightreign does this pretty well and does something vaguely similar with the Everjails, right? Like, so if you find a stone sword key, I guess the stone sword keys as well are like pretty fairly analogous to shit. I really need to pay attention. Are fairly analogous to the stuff I was saying previously about like bug holes and whatnot. You don't deploy with them, but or I think you might actually be able to start off with one with it if you get like a super rare relic. But yeah, one sec. Trying to focus on that guy because he can charge us and do more damage. So yeah, you can start to see. I got myself there with the explosion. You can start to see like a variety of different enemy types kind of approaching and all that. I'll take a break for one, just like rest my voice. I feel like I've been talking for 90 minutes straight. But yeah, so I guess I'm trying to think about like the experience loop in Elden Ring, right? Like basically, for the most part, what you do is you run around and you're trying to kill as many things as possible in the shortest amount of time possible so that you can continue to earn experience points and have that experience point gain be commensurate, like, so that you'll be on time when you get to the final boss, basically, right? Like, so you're trying to keep pace with yourself. Don't take my fucking wasp launcher. Oh my god. He doesn't know what he's doing. It's okay. Okay. But they got the boss. That's... One second. Okay, just trying to make sure I give them information. Okay, I don't know what we're doing here anymore. It's just pure chaos. That's kind of part of the fun of it. I think one of the achievements in the game is literally like have 6 different orbital strategies active at the same time or something like that. Oh, well, he dropped my gun, so I'll take it back. Ow. And yeah, and like the weapons that you summon in can be taken by your teammates, which can be really frustrating, especially if they're rare drops or like they take a long time to reinforce, recharge, whatever, come off cooldown. But yeah. Oh yeah, those beams of light. One second. The beams of light are when you want to like summon down something. So like, let's say I want to bring down a new like highly powered weapon for myself, then I'll need to have it be delivered by the Super Destroyer, which is the ship that I was on. And so yeah, so like I just threw that little ball and the little ball makes that little light appear. If you look up to the sky in a second, you'll see there's our friend and he's shooting down. So he came out of the ship over there and then he came down and he followed the beacon. It's just like a beacon, right? You can see like there's enemies in the flames and I can't really see them very well, but I can scan with my wasp launcher and then it'll send out those little individuals over there. My teammates are also doing things, and now this whole area has basically been set on fire, which makes it difficult for us to navigate, but you know, now the whole area is cleared out and we can kind of go in and clean up. So not really a super effective strategy because like we probably lost like what 5 lives there or something. But very fun for sure. and there's little pickups that you can get. So one of the things that I think Elden Ring, Nightreign could potentially stand to learn from is the progression, and that's one of the ones that is, I think, the most lacking at the moment. Um, and basically, in this, when we deploy into this map, want to think about all of the different, or sorry, let me rephrase that. To deploy to a mission in Helldivers, think about all of the different things that we are actually getting per mission, right? So on the one hand, the primary thing that we get, the primary currency that we get is called requisitions, and they're basically the dollar bills, right? They are the basic currency, and you use that currency to purchase new armor, to basically to unlock things in the battle passes, including the free battle pass. So you can use it to get like a new piece of armor or a new weapon or stuff like that. Then there's super credits, which are the like a blue currency, and they're the in-game like funny money, right? They're like the Dave and Buster's dollars, if you know Dave and Buster's, or the Disney. I think Disney does that too, right? Where they have like Disney money that you can only use at the park. That's basically that. Now you can purchase the super credits with real money. You know, if you want to support the game, if you want to buy the battle passes, you can do that. But even if you do, you still need to gradually unlock things with in-game currency. So, like, if I want the battle pass that has, like, the gas weapons, you know, the caustic, corrosive weapons and stuff, I can unlock it for $10, and then, or I can purchase it for $10, and then I have to go through the process of gradually unlocking all the stuff in it using the main currency. Or I can, you know, just very slowly but surely find those super credits in the game and unlock it on my own. So it was a little bit of a word salad. So just to clarify, there's the main currency that's like XP. You're always getting it. You get it every time you do anything in the game. And you can use that main currency to unlock new weapons and new armors and stuff like that up to a certain point. Then there's the in-game currency, like the real money, spend your dollars on this. And then that stuff is used to unlock the battle pass things. But you can just find that lying around in the world if you look hard enough. Like, you don't technically have to ever spend any money to unlock all the stuff in the game. It just takes you longer, right? Then, in addition to that, there's the experience points, and the experience points help you upgrade your level, right? So you notice that I'm like level 48 or something. These guys are like level 3, 10, 15, whatever. And the more levels you gain, the more access you get to things on the ship. So you get like the napalm strike at a higher level. You get access to like a car that you can drive around at a higher level, etc., etc. Yeah, notice that I just used the wasp to identify a hidden enemy. Yep. That's just a nice little extra function of the weapon, right? So, yeah, the more you play, the more you start to realize that those currencies kind of synergize with one another. What else? So that's that. Then you have the, what are they called? The samples. The samples are diegetic. They're things that are dropped by enemies in the game or found in the environment. You can't purchase them with real world money. They're just like part of the game world. There's 3 different types of samples. They're basically like small, medium, and large. And each of the samples helps you unlock different things. So with the small samples, you can make minor upgrades to your ship, medium ones, medium, large, etc. And then, in addition, I'm kind of rambling here. So I'll just recap and then I'll move on, right? So you have generic currency that can unlock all sorts of shit. You have battle pass currency that you can buy or find. Then you have like upgrade currency, and then you have experience points. So going from level 1 to 50, every time you go into a map, your character is growing and you're getting the opportunity to unlock more stuff. You have currency that you can use to unlock like weapons and mission critical things or purely cosmetic things. You can upgrade your ship, and the things that you have access to on the ship increase with your level and with the other currencies and resources that you're finding. So every time you do anything, you are always getting multiple different things that you can use to grow your character and your ship and deepen your like investment in the game world every single time, multiple different ways. You can nudge some of those with real world currency if you want to. You don't have to. and you can really kind of set your own pace in terms of how much you like, what you want to unlock and when, which is fucking great. So I think that if Elden Ring wants to, if Nightreign wants to have the same kind of staying power and longevity as a game like this, they're going to need to figure out how to secure that kind of longevity and long-term appeal. They're going to need to find a way to give players a sense that everything they do is building towards something or can be used to contribute to something. Because right now, like, I think you wind up getting something like 1,000 to 2,000 merc, which is the in-game currency, for every single run. And at the moment, like, I'm usually averaging about 1,500, right, per run. Now, the only thing I really, after 30 hours that I want to spend my merc on is... Sorry. There's only really two things for me to spend my merc on at this point. One of them is outfits for the character, which are purely cosmetic. And the outfits are cool. They're fine. But, like, the basic ones are 15,000. And the advanced ones are 35,000 per character, right? So I played 30 hours, and now I have something like 15,000 spare merc, and I can maybe buy one outfit for one character. Now, I can also gamble. Hooray! There's gambling in Elden Ring now. I can spend 600, I think 600, 800 merc or whatever it is, to get a chance at a randomized, or like you get, for 600 merc, you gamble for a random gem or relic or whatever they're called. And so, just statistically, most of them are going to be bad, and you're going to sell them again. And then you're going to use whatever money that you spent, or that you got from selling them, to gamble on more of them. So those are your options. 100 hours into this game, I'm just now starting, like, maybe around the 75 to 80 hour mark is when I started to run out of, like, the basic unlocks. Like, I got all the weapons unlocked, all the, like, all the basic weapons, all of the, whatchamacallit, the stratagems and the upgrades to the ship. Like, I got most of that stuff done, at this point. But it took me like 75 hours to get there, and I still haven't done a whole lot of the Battle Pass stuff, including the free Battle Pass that they give you, which is also the best one. But then compare that to Nightreign, where, okay, like, I'm 30 hours in. I've done 5 of the 8 bosses, of the, like, final bosses. I've done most of the character remembrances already. And, like, my choices in terms of continuing to advance and upgrade my character are gamble or, like, get an outfit every 10 hours. I don't feel motivated to continue to grind the same map and the same fucking one mission, like, over and over and over again, just so that I'll get, like, a slightly different vibe for my character, so that I can look slightly different when I do that same mission over again, right? There has to be something more. Now, granted, I haven't actually beaten the final Night Lord yet, so for all I know, there's some great big reveal that's happening, that's waiting for me at the end, and I just haven't discovered it yet. Please don't run in front of me. But, I mean, I don't know. I also am realizing that an aspect of this game that Elden Ring doesn't, well, nah. Never mind. What I was gonna say is something along the lines of, like, look, I have my pistol. That requires a certain amount of skill and aiming, and this is a particular, like, type of aim, right? It's not like every single bow, basically fires the same and you can lock on with it, right? Like, I have to be kind of skilled and mindful. You can see the circle that's kind of, like, wavering around. There's the crosshair in the middle, but then there's a circle with a laser that's kind of going all over the place. So, even if my crosshair is in the middle of the screen, the actual place where my weapon is going to aim is going to vary quite a bit. And it's not necessarily going to be in the center. Like, I have to be mindful of that. If I use my, grenade launcher thing, I have to be mindful of the explosion radius and the arc as well, right? Like, if I try to go further away, I can't just fire directly at the enemy necessarily, because it's gonna fall a little bit. Like, I have to be mindful of that, like get the arc right. Keep that in mind, especially at a distance. So a lot of there's a lot of variation in terms of handling and rate of fire, and like when to properly, like when the right time to reload your weapon is. I mean, you can absolutely jump into the game and just pick machine gun and make a machine gun go brrr, as they say, and like just make sure to keep holding down the trigger, and you will get shit done. But if you really want to invest in like the higher level tiers of play, so to speak, you want to keep getting better and better and better, you're gonna have to learn like all the little quirks of every single weapon and really get to know them. And I think the way that Elden Ring tries to do that is, rather than doing it through weapons that are agnostic, in other words, that are shared between all players that any player can use, they specifically put that into the character skills, right? Like, you don't get better at using the pistol versus the machine gun. You get better at using the parry on the Executor versus the grapple on Wilder. And I think there's actually a ton of room for expression and variation and like longevity there. I genuinely feel like I'm just scratching the surface of something like one sec. I wanted to. Oh, he brought down the resupply already. Okay. I genuinely feel like I'm just scratching the surface of what like the recluse can do with her like magic cocktail and stuff like that. The Iron Eye, I mean, like, I don't fucking know. Maybe I'm just uncreative, but I think I pretty much understand his ult. Like, it's good for stagger damage. It's good for AoE crowd clearing. There's not much else to say, right? Like, I'm sure that there are some crazy like gaming gods out there who can just do amazing things that I've never thought of with him, but I mean, it feels like the ceiling for expression, so to speak, is relatively low. He's got a dash that marks enemies, and then he's got something else that helps pick off lots of enemies at once, or does a lot of damage to a single enemy. But you compare that with something like Wilder's Grapple. I mean, Wilder's Grapple can be used to engage, disengage, it can be used to pull, it can be used to pull yourself versus an enemy, it can be used as part of like chain combos and stuff. So you can use it for strafing. It's all kinds of crazy shit you can do with that. And I think the higher level players are also going to be like to have plenty of opportunities. But hello, friend. Where are you going? Okay, you do your thing. I love little moments like that. I guess, Elden Ring, like Nightreign, shit, winds up just being a bit more focused, I guess. Because, when you think about the vast arsenal that I have as a player here, I can place down a sentry which will guard an area for me and automatically detect enemies and destroy them. Or another one that sets them on fire. Or another one that uses mortars to attack them from a distance but is dangerous to be near. Or another one that uses a lot of ammo and fires really quickly but is great on crowds. Or another one that fires explosive rockets but is very vulnerable if enemies get up close to it. Or another one that fires like armor-piercing cannon rounds that are strong, but again, like leave the cannon itself to be quite vulnerable. So, when you think of like, what's it called? The Executor has that ability where he, 1 second, I'm gonna call in the thief. The Executor has the ability where he turns into a giant doggo and slashes. And he can slash and he can pounce and he can roar. Okay, well, what Helldivers offers instead of that is you can turn into a doggo or a panther or a bear or a walrus or a horse, right? Like, basically, right? It's kind of a weird analogy, I guess, but the idea is that for every one like archetype that Elden Ring provides, that Nightreign provides. I feel like Helldivers gives you a variety of like slight variations on that archetype that just add way more replayability and variety and incentive for experimentation, right? Like if I came in with 4 different sentries and no other stratagems, I'd still get a lot of mileage out of those sentries, and they would be very different in terms of their function, right? There's that rocket kind of going to town right over there. Now again, this doesn't mean that like this is the only way or even the best way to do it, but I'm saying I want to be playing Elden Ring Nightreign for 200 hours, and I want to be playing this game for 200 hours. I feel like 200 hours into Helldivers 2, I will still have shit that I haven't discovered, new combinations of things that I haven't quite figured out yet, new strategies that I'm working on, etc., etc. And I will feel curious and interested in continuing to experiment with all those things. I don't feel the same about Elden Ring Nightreign at the moment. I feel like Nightreign wants me to perform, kind of like it has steps to a dance that it expects me to perform, and I will get better and better at performing that specific dance to that specific tune over time. And that's kind of it. I'll get better and better at the guitar solo. Maybe I'll add some improvisation here or there, but it's still going to be the same piece of music, if that makes sense. I guess you could say that about Helldivers 2. I don't exactly know how to articulate it, but hopefully I made some sense in there. Now that we have a little bit of downtime, I'll shut up. I mean, not shut up, really. I'm going to keep talking, but I'll shut up about the game, and I'll try to actually respond to some comments. Sorry for keeping you waiting. Saria says, "Oh, I thought you were being attacked from above." I was like, what the fuck do you do about that? Oh, yeah, well, just like how in Nightreign, this is actually one of my favorite parts of Nightreign, is that you'll have these kind of procedural world events where, you'll be walking around and all of a sudden you'll get a message that says, waves of locusts have appeared or something like that. And be like, oh shit, what is that? And then you'll have like these big swarms of insects that spawn on top of you and drain your life and stuff. And you have to locate whoever. I still haven't managed to figure this out yet, but like I guess you have to track down whoever's attacking you. Fuck, you have to. Pin in whoever. You have to track down whoever is attacking you and destroy them so that they don't continue to steal your runes and shit like that. Very fun, kind of scary, kind of cool, right? I like that a lot. I like those procedural events. There are actually events, god damn it, like that in Helldivers as well. For example, there will be meteor storms, and when the meteor storms hit, you will notice that there will be like these bright patches that appear on the ground. They're like cones of light being reflected off the meteors, I guess, and if you don't get out of the way, they will fuck you up. There are firestorms of tornadoes that come, or like fire tornadoes, sorry, that show up and kind of spiral and move all around the environment. And if you get hit by them, it's a bad time. I mean, it's fun to engage with. I mean, your character just gets messed up. And if you, there are a couple other things that I'm not remembering at the moment, but yeah, there's all kinds of like little events like that that are super fun. I think Elden Ring actually, some of the best moments that I've had with Nightreign are those moments where the world feels alive and like it's hunting you or reacting to you or something like that. So, no, the beams of light themselves. Oh, if you're talking about that one, I think that beam over there is specifically pointing to an objective, right? Like there's something for us to do over there. That in particular, I think, is our extraction point. So like if we're done with the mission and we want to head back to base, then we have to go and actually get picked up by the extraction shuttle that brings us back to the super destroyer, to the ship that I was on before. And so yeah, we would just need to go there. But then the other little ones correspond to the stratagems that are being brought in. Okay, hang on. I brought like the completely wrong fucking loadout for this as well, so not being very helpful. Oh well. Okay, let's see. That's kind of like dailies for your summons in Zenless Zone Zero. Oh, I haven't played Zenless Zone Zero. I have heard good things about it though. Would you recommend it? Although I'm not gonna play.
Liberty, save me!
1 second. I tend to bounce off. Is Zenless Zone Zero the one with that character, Bernice, or Bernice? I remember seeing like a meme dance of that character and being like, well, what the hell is this? And I think I looked it up. I would really like to be able to get into games like that, but every time I've tried them recently, it hasn't gone well. Like I got, whatchamacallit, the hell's the name of that game that came out that everybody likes? Oh wow, I'm really failing my teammates here. Sorry, friend. Just trying to multitask. Where the hell's... Oh, they already got the resupply. Okay, I got it. I was gonna try and bring some more ammo in. It was... Metaphor Refantatio. I tried to get into that, and the reviews look good, and a lot of reviewers that I, kind of appreciate the thoughts of seemed to think it was enjoyable, and I was really looking forward to it. And I got like 2 hours in, I was like, I can't fucking deal with this. No disrespect or anything to folks who like it, it's just really not for me. But yeah, be curious to hear more thoughts about it, if you would recommend it and stuff like that. Okay. See, what I really need here is stratagems that I can use quickly, that I am not like shy about using, namely that like if they go off near me, I'm not going to worry about the collateral damage that I'm going to take. And unfortunately, that I can use frequently and without too much care. And instead what I did is I chose a whole bunch of shit, god damn it, that is like all these enemies like rush towards me, and I'm just not able to sustain my damage against them because it comes back to bite me. No. Okay. And then Saria says, oh yeah, I'm sorry, they do actually, so the game does actually have like daily quests as well, so to speak, in the form of your personal orders and your larger mission objectives. So you're also just getting free currency for signing into the game and participating in the overall larger narrative. And you're then furthermore getting currency for completing little objectives that are being given to you. So really, it's sort of impossible not to gain something tangible after every single mission. Even if you just sit in a corner, like rocking back and forth, being like, I hate bugs, get me out of here, the whole time, you're still going to get experience and you're still going to get currency. Obviously, you get more and more if you help your fucking team out, and go exploring the map and shit like that. But yeah, you're given a participation trophy, and then you can use that trophy to do cool shit with. Yeah, so it was kind of a bummer to have to just sit there and wait, but also now exciting. We got redeployed in, and we're at 2 more minutes before our other friend can get spawned back in. So now M4 and I have to hold the fort and try to survive long enough to have our friend come back in. Now here's the thing. If they want to, they can just leave, right? Like, if they're tired of being dead, they can quit, and they won't be penalized for it. That's the other thing. They've still earned their experience points. They've still earned their requisitions, right? And, like, we can still finish the map. If I got kicked from the map right now, all that would happen is, like, if I started spamming or started being an asshole or whatever, and my teammates want to kick me, all that I would see is a message on screen saying, you've been kicked, and then my teammates would disappear. But then I would still be in the same spot in the map, right? Like, I would just wait for the ship to come in, I'd defend it, and then I can leave. And I wouldn't lose any of the other shit that I'd gained. And my teammates wouldn't lose anything for kicking me either. So that's the other thing. I think I talked about this in one of the Elden Ring streams, but like, this game does have ways of policing, the player experience, so to speak, you know, there are ways that you can get punished if you fuck up, and or not fuck up, if you like fuck around with other players and ruin their fun. But at the same time, like, all that happens is you know, you get to go play in the corner by yourself instead of not getting to play at all. And so they just eliminate, I think they just sort of preemptively remove so many potential reasons for people to get pissed in the first place that they what the fuck is happening? Where's the, that's weird. To get pissed in the first place, that it just doesn't happen until there's no toxicity. Riot Games, their solution to trying to stifle toxicity was to dogpile more and more and more and more punishments on players for breaking the rules, and they never found a way, in my experience, to actually make it so players weren't getting frustrated to begin with. Right? They was just not part of their game design. Now, it's kind of like, I guess it comes down to a question of personal philosophy or ethics or something like that, right? Like, if you have a bunch of people that are like running around town and they're stealing food from stores, you know, what is your, actually, you know what? I have a perfect analogy for this. I think this actually happened in Paris, right? Paris was having a serious problem with public urination. People were pissing on the streets. They were pissing on people's cars. They were basically, the whole streets in parts of town were just smelling like piss all day, because people were peeing everywhere. Men, probably, right? Or mostly. So how did they try to solve this? Well, first they tried to fine people, and what happened then is that they spent money, and then people pissed, and then they paid their piss tax. And they said, okay, well, now let's try putting people in lockup if they continue to pee on things. And so what would happen is people would go and they would piss, and then they would get arrested and brought to their like holding cell, and they would piss in the holding cell. So now there was piss in more different places, and then they kept on doing this, like, let's increase the fine, let's increase the penalty, etc., etc. And all that happened was that there was more piss, and there was more people who were angry about the piss. Nothing changed, nothing got better, until somebody had the brilliant idea of saying, well, it seems to me that people really need to piss. And it seems to me that there is not a whole lot being done to help facilitate this. So they put up like a couple of urinals with a nice little sign being like, please pee in me, please fill me up, and you'll be doing a good job if you do that. And then all of a sudden the streets started smelling better. Like, very, very, very quickly. The problem just kind of went away. So rather than trying to eliminate the pee, because it wasn't going to happen anyway, they just said, look, this is a fact. People need to piss, and clearly there is a need that is not being fulfilled here. And so let's get out of people's way and help them. And when they did that, the problem solved itself. So that's like incentive versus punishment, right? On the one hand, you have trying to hammer the point home with a stick over and over and over. Just do what you're told or we'll hit you harder. Or on the other hand, well, why are you acting up in the first place? Can I understand this? Can I really build a system that addresses the problem instead of just trying to suppress the problem? So, in my opinion, just subjectively as a player and also like as a developer, I think that Helldivers has been very successful at preempting and addressing the underlying root causes of toxicity and trying to avoid and mitigate them as much as possible. Whereas some, like other teams like Riot, you know, it's different because it's a different game. It's not a one-to-one comparison, but their environment, the ecosystem that they've built is just, it's built into the experience, and all they can do is try to stamp it out, but that's never going to get rid of it. It's only going to make the frustration worse, right? So I'm not saying you should let people just like spam the N-word anytime anything happens in any League of Legends match, which was what I was usually seeing happen. But, you know, find another way to make it so that they don't want to do that in the first place, basically. It's simple P math. Yes, exactly. It's the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, I missed some comments. I'm sorry. Gambling with King America. Finally, Elden Ring is peak. Yes, exactly. And then there's Revenant, the tiny bean who summons her Sims to destroy her enemies. Yes. So I actually really like Revenant conceptually. I think there's quite a lot of interestingness or interest in the design of her character overall. Um, I haven't yet found that sweet spot of feeling like I can that she's as expressive and as in depth as some of the other characters. I feel like I haven't quite hit my stride with her yet. For Zenless Zone Zero, oh, you understand what? Okay, yeah, appreciate that. Zenless Zone Zero, you're saying you wouldn't recommend it. Honestly, you only play it because of one character. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that either. Like, I don't want to disparage it. I'll tell you what it was that turned me off of whatchamacallit. Both the sorry, one second, I have to try to remember. There was Persona 5, and then there was also actually, yeah, let's try this. Persona 5 and why can I never remember Metaphor Refantatio, right? Both of those games, I really gave it a good old college try. The problem with them is that
You're here.
yes.
The galaxy awaits your salvation.
1 second, sorry, I'm kind of like my brain is a little cooked. So the problem that I had with them is that you would get to a conversation with somebody, and the character would be asking you something along the lines of like, "Hey, I think we should totally like sneak into the school at night. I understand you might have reservations, but let's do it because we could learn something about the principal." And then it would give you 3 dialogue options, and the dialogue options would be, "Yes, let's do it. I'm not sure about this, but okay." Or the third one would be like, "No, dot 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 is what I want to say, but," or even it would even give you the option to say no. But then you would hit the no button, and then the character would be like, "By no, you really mean yes, right? I knew you would be part of this mission with me, right?" And so, like, that's fine to do once in a while, and especially as a joke or whatever. But my experience with that game was that, the first 5 hours, I would say 4 of those 5 hours was dialogue, and most of that was literally just characters expositing, and then you would get a prompt, and it was almost just like the prompt was somebody like jingling some keys in front of your eyes to get your attention, right? Like you're a cat or something. And it would be pretending like, hey, you actually have an interaction here. There's something that we need from you as a player. But then what would happen would just be that there would be nothing for me to contribute. Okay, so I think let's do. I'm not really good at this one. Yeah, let's try. Sorry, says yes. I hate that. It's so annoying. Yeah, it's the worst. I don't know, man. I think that there are ways to do that stuff well. I just sorry, what the fuck am I saying? No, it's really bad. It's really bad to feel like you're there's no reason for you to even be there, right? Like the game is basically playing itself, and all it wants is for you to periodically acknowledge it, but it doesn't really care what you have to say, It's just really depressing. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I wanted to try to do one. Sorry, says just play a cutscene at that point. I know it's expensive, but I hate the illusion of choice. Yes, exactly. Yeah, because it's worse when they set up your expectation and then they betray your expectation. Like, not to be that dramatic about it or whatever, right? But I feel like with Hideo Kojima, with his games, that like when you sit down and on screen it says press play to start, what he's really saying is like, get some fucking popcorn, you're about to watch a movie, right? And you kind of know what you're getting yourself into, and it's annoying, I guess, if you're not into that, but also you get used to it, and then you're like, okay, now I understand what I'm in for. And you can just sit back and enter that mind space, and then when the nice little movie's done, it's time to play the game. Now you play the game. you understand what you're in for. But I feel like it's less enjoyable with something. Okay, okay, hi. It's doing really badly already. It's less enjoyable, less permissible, so to speak, with something like those Atlas games because
Ready to liberate.
they give you the illusion of choice. I couldn't have said it better myself. And when that illusion is shattered, it can be very, I don't know. Well, we've talked a little bit about The Last of Us too, right? Because there's something that happens about 1/3 of the way through, like the initial
Mag's empty.
second. Why is this not working? Okay. There's something that happens about 1/3 of the way through The Last of Us 2. Damn, that was great. The video game that I'd like to reference because I think it's relevant to our conversation. But I think also it's possible that there's a bit of a spoiler if you haven't played it or if you are planning on playing it or whatnot. So let me know if you're comfortable with that. It's it's before the halfway point of the game.
How about a nice cup of liberty?
In the meantime, what are you doing? Get out of there. Okay. One of the things I really like about the anti-tank weapons is that you can basically just summon them down every minute or so, and they're completely expendable and disposable, so you can like pick one up and carry it with you, and it does a lot of damage. But if you don't want to use it right away, you can just leave it there, and then all of a sudden you set up all of these like free anti-tanks essentially all over the map, where you can come back there later and pick it up and then like fire it off and then keep going. Actually, you can actually see something in the distance. See, this is really cool, right? Like wandering around the map, and I know I have like certain objectives to do. If I pay attention, I can start to notice things. Like over here, looks like there's some human structures, and so there's probably something down there if I go to investigate and explore. It's not really marked on the map. I can find a place that will actually reveal the map to me, like a radar station, which is great, or a LiDAR station, really. But I also can just like start to look around and get curious about what's going on. So if I take a look over there, you see those sort of glowing things off in the distance. Kind of hard to see. And I wasn't really able to do much to them. But they are structures that I believe we can destroy and will benefit us if we do. So I'm going to try again. Arc there. Okay. I'm not doing very well, but I think I am hitting them. I just got to get my aim better. And so I might actually just give myself a little objective to go over there and see if I can take these things out, right? Because they are going to be relevant later. Just going to get my aim right. Yeah, nice. Okay. So now I have knowledge of these things. Yeah, okay. I just need to get myself a little closer. And part of the reason why I deployed solo is because, you know, okay, well... 1 second. Ammo, please. Ammo, please. For the love of jeez. Why are you not reloading? Okay, so there's an example, right? I've been singing this game's praises, and I've basically been kind of implying that this game is, like, better than Nightreign in a lot of ways. But one of the things I haven't done in a while is play solo. And, like, somebody just popped in for a second, but, you know, I wanted to at least start off solo and compare my solo experience here to my solo experience in Elden Ring. The thing is, one of the things that Elden Ring does, how do I one sec, I gotta also like equip some stuff. So I don't know exactly what the right term for this is. I'm sure like one of my game developer colleagues would have like a particularly clever way of phrasing this or whatnot, right? But or like if there's a specific term for it. But in Elden Ring, you start with Nightreign, you start off like highly empowered, or sorry, highly disempowered, and that disempowerment kind of funnels you into specific roles and into specific things that you are and are not able to do. So for example, it's kind of completely fucking pointless to try to go and do the whatchamacallit, the castle in the middle of the map, even though it has good rewards and even though you can technically defeat it, it kind of doesn't make any sense at all for you to try to do that at the beginning, because it's just going to take you so long and going to be so inefficient because you're at such a low level that even if you do manage to clear it by the end of the first night, you'll hardly have gained anything and you won't be like very far along. You'll have basically hamstrung yourself for the rest of the match. Okay, so not a good idea. Whereas in this game, you can go directly. I guess the game saw that I was doing so terribly and like decided to take pity on me. In this game, by comparison, you start off at full fucking power. You are the strongest you're ever going to be at the start of the match, and basically you have access to all your weapons, all your items and stuff, and then it's just a matter of surviving from that high starting point. And what can happen though is that like if you lose momentum in Elden Ring, you feel like, yes, at a certain point, I guess it's like you can definitely feel like, oh, I've fallen behind and now I can't catch up, right? And that can feel very frustrating in Nightreign. But at the same time, if you somehow manage to get to like the second night while still being at level 1, I don't even know how you do that, but even if you did, you could still, recover, because every single enemy you kill is going to bring you a little bit of experience point, and that experience point is going to grow your character in that session and give you more and more options in that session. And the more you grow, the more things you can explore, the more types of enemies you can fight, the more areas of the map you can potentially explore and experience. So you start off in a relatively disempowered, relatively nerfed state, and the more you do well, and the more sort of consistently you do well, you are rewarded not just with like meta currency or things like that, but you're actually rewarded with gaining access to more of the map and having more opportunities to see and do more different kinds of things, right? So the ideal match of Elden Ring, Nightreign, winds up being almost kind of like a rhythm game in a weird way, where your goal is to create a sense of momentum and fluidity and just kind of like dance and glide between different things and contain this like consistent rhythm in order to keep expanding, keep flowing, keep shifting to the next spot. Whereas this game, you don't have that. You are equally capable of defeating any given obstacle arbitrarily, no matter where you start on the map. And so there isn't that sense of rhythm. I guess I'm trying to think of an analogy, and I'm thinking of like Elden Ring is kind of like skiing down a slope, where you're like you're oscillating between your left leg and your right leg, and you're digging in and you're building up momentum and you're trying to hit that stride. And as long as you kind of keep that even pace back and forth, you can wind up having a like really, really building up speed and momentum, and that's what feels so thrilling about it. Whereas I guess like this game is more like rock climbing or something like that, or more like cross-country skiing, where it's more about like, you're on a more even keel, and there are like more even keel throughout, and there are definitely bursts of intensity and whatnot, but it's not quite, you don't need to maintain that momentum in quite the same way. Although I will say that on the other hand, when you play solo, like I was playing solo before, it was very fucking frustrating to feel like I was getting one shot over and over and over and over and over again, and my like reinforcement budget was just constantly was constantly getting whittled away, and like I was done. Like I was basically just like completely incapable of helping myself from the moment that I spawned in, essentially, because I was getting so thoroughly demolished. Now, oh wait, what the fuck? What? What? Why did that show up? Sorry about that. I'm sorry. I hope that didn't jump scare anyone. That scared the shit out of me. What the fuck? I forgot I had that hotkeyed on there. Hi, Yoko. Oh my god. I had to put like a jump scare warning. What am I at? The 2 hour and 29-minute mark. Okay. That I saw this fucking creepy ass skull out of the corner of my eyes, and I like my heart jumped into my fucking throat. I was not expecting that. Okay, lesson learned. Anyway, should probably pay attention to the match at some point. Nah, where's the fun in that? Anyway, all I was trying to say is that Elden Ring is like skiing, and this is like driving a really cool bulldozer over a bunch of fireworks. Should have just said that and been done with it. Alright, anyway. Okay, Last of Us 2, right? So, this is entirely subjective, but do you remember? Okay, so spoilers for The Last of Us 2, the first third of the game, before the major story shift. There's a character called Nora that I'm going to talk about and what happens to her. So if you haven't played it and you care about spoilers there, this also applies to the show because the events in the show for this character are very similar. So if you care about Last of Us 2 spoilers, please close your ears for the next, say, 3 minutes and 33 seconds exactly. Okay, so there's a sequence in which Ellie goes to confront this character called Nora, and basically she's trying to get information from Nora on where her friend Abby is, because Ellie wants to kill Abby and get revenge on Abby. Son of a bitch. And Nora supposedly knows where she is. And you track her down and you hold her at gunpoint and you're about to kill her, but then she escapes. And then you corner her in a basement, and she's like breathing in spores, and she's about to die sometime in the near-ish future, right? And Ellie has the option to starts to interrogate her in a cutscene, and it's like, I need you to tell me where Abby is. Like, I can make this very, very painful, or I can make this quick. Like, you're gonna die, but I'm gonna torture you unless you tell me what I need to know. And Nora says, I'm not gonna give up my friend. I don't care. So then Ellie, like, narratively, what she has to do is to torture her to get the information. Now, what actually happens is that you see all of that happen in a cutscene for the most part. I mean, like, I think you control the player while you're chasing Nora, but then when you guys fall into the basement and Nora's pressed up against the wall and stuff like that, that's all part of a cutscene. And then it switches to player control. And when it switches to player control is at the end when Nora says, like, okay, fine, whatever, do your worst. And it switches to the camera to Ellie's face, and you're seeing like Ellie's face from Nora's perspective essentially. And Ellie's looking at her, and she's about to like punch her or smack her with the crowbar or whatever's happening. And she will just stand there, like huffing and puffing, like she's gonna, like my character is now, over and over and over again, angrily scowling with the like red bloody lights in the background. And wait for you to press the attack button. And when that first happened, and basically it's supposed to be like when you press the attack button, Ellie attacks in the cutscene, and so it's kind of like a quick time event, like in like God of War, right? With those brutal executions and stuff like that. So Ellie will just wait there for the player to press the button. And when I first played it, I was like, yeah, but I don't want to. I don't want to kill Nora. I don't really like the way this is going. The game is asking me for my input. I don't want to give my input. I wonder what the game will do if I don't do anything. So I put my controller down and I waited for 10 minutes. And of course, nothing happened because there was no real choice, right? Like, the story that they wanted to tell was that Ellie tortured Nora to get information to get revenge on Abby. That was the story. There was not a branching narrative. There was not like a fork or an option or moral choice or whatever. That was the story that'd be written. That's totally fine. And they didn't want to just play a passive cutscene because they wanted the player to feel like the visceral sensation and connection. They want you to feel like you're the one murdering Nora, right? Like you want to, although I guess it's ambiguous because you're seeing things through Nora's eyes, so maybe it's debatable. But basically, they want you to feel responsible, I think, on some level, which is why they have you pressing the button. Like, I think that's a very powerful choice. One sec. God, I gotta get better at dodging that shit. But at the same time, they basically wind up with this kind of difficult situation where they've created a cutscene which is not designed to really support player expression and decision making, but also necessitates player input support in order to have its impact. I hope that made some sense. And to me, it's like a lose-lose situation, because on the one hand, it's like, if you decide as a player, I actually want to sit back and not engage with this, right? Then the game doesn't have a solution for it. The game is not prepared to have Ellie swing anyway if you don't press the button. The game is not prepared to fade out. It doesn't have a situation where, Nora, I don't know, picks up a gun that she had hidden or something and kills you. Like, it doesn't have any kind of like fail-safe for it. And as I'm saying this, though, I'm kind of like realizing the problem. They don't want it to be a matter of like, well, you had to kill Nora because if you didn't, then she would have gotten the better of you anyway. Like, it was inevitable. They want you genuinely, as a player, to feel like you made the unnecessary and sadistic choice of engaging in this act of torture. They want you to make the choice to press the button and to feel the vibrations from the rumble in the controller up your elbow as you kill this person. And that is powerful. And I think, as I'm talking through this, I think they made the right choice. But there's always going to be this weird, awkward elephant in the room paradox of you as a player kind of have to buy into that, right? You have to decide, yeah, I like what you're doing. I'm going to choose to play along, because if you don't, the only other option you have is just to turn off the game console. You don't get to see Ellie potentially walk away. That's not an option that's being given to you. You don't get to see the consequences if you fail that cutscene. Just leave her there in the basement or whatever, right? So it's weird. It's a cutscene that's not a cutscene. It's a gameplay scene that's not a gameplay scene. It's player input that's not player input. And the thing is, as broken as it is, I think they actually did the best that they could. I think they actually made the right call, for the thing that they wanted to do. It's just such a difficult fucking thing. As a player, yeah, I guess, as a player, the first time I played through, I turned the game off for a while and I decided I didn't want to play anymore because I just found that super lame. And yeah, but now as a developer, I'm going through it and I'm being fuck, I don't think there's a better option. I don't think there's a better solution for the story they wanted to tell. And they might have just rubbed up against an inherent limitation of the medium. They want to have their cake and eat it too, and you know what? That's actually not a bad thing, because cake is delicious, and also having cake that you can later experience the deliciousness of is also fucking great. So I think they tried to do that. They tried to have currently being consumed and also currently extant cake, and it kind of came out okay, for what it's worth. I think they basically they're making a implicit handshake with the player, so to speak, and they're being look, I don't fucking know how to solve this problem. Can you just shut up and enjoy this? We made this for you. That's kind of how I felt. And at the time I was yeah, but you're taking a character I love and you're making her into a sadistic maniac. And so no, I don't want to play along with that. But now I'm I don't know. I know that game gets so much hate, and I think we talked about this in Sage's server, right? It gets a lot of hate specifically, honestly, because of some weird masculinity stuff that I won't get into. But it's really fucking bold and weird. It is extremely weird and cool and unique for them to take a story about someone that we grew to love, and then taking that person away from us, and then taking the next person that we also grew to love along with the first person, Ellie and Joel, right? And then, like, one second.
Requesting air
And then gradually having us grow to like the person, Ellie, that we love less and less, and almost kind of get scared by her and not recognize her and not know what to do with her, and then start off with somebody that we fucking hate, like hate, but then gradually growing to care about her. Like that was my experience, right? Like I thought the game was over. I thought it was the correct length. I thought it was appropriate. I thought it was it said what it needed to say when Abby confronts Ellie in the theater, and then the second part of the game starts, and I was like, I don't fucking want to play this. I don't fucking care. I don't like this person. Like I've spent enough time with the game. I want to do something else with my life, and I like put it down for a week. But then I was like, okay, now I got to give it a try, right? And one second. And I'm glad I did at the end of the day. But like, yeah, what? Who does that, right? Who's like, I want to tell a story about, you really like this person, but then maybe you hate this person, and then this other person that you hate, you wind up growing to like, and then at the end you don't know how you feel, and you just kind of feel gross and weird, and like you need a shower, and like a week off, right? Like, what a cool idea for a project. And to do it with everybody in the face of everyone's expectations and attachments to the series. I mean, they had to know that people were going to shit on them, right? They had to know that they were walking into a fucking hellstorm, and they did it anyway. And I respect that. I mean, I don't respect just like pissing people off for the sake of it, but I think that they had a vision. They had something that they wanted to achieve, and it was bold and weird and fucked up, and they went for it. And now, regardless of whether or not like anybody likes that game, I do like it. You can still look at it and be like, look at this fucking look at this weird experiment. Like, let's talk about it. It's memorable, right? It's worth debating. It's worth having a dialogue about. So I don't know. When I played that game for the first time, I got to the end and I was like just depressed and I felt gross and I didn't have a good time with it, and I was like, I never want to play this again. But I respect it, and I have come back to it over the years and really appreciate it, at least the attempt, right? Like I respect the ambition, the experimentation, the boldness, whatever you want to call it, right? At least with the narrative. With the mechanics, I think I have a problem with the way that stimulants in the game are being used as like a superpower. Like the sort of implications of, yeah, go around collecting random drugs and then take random drugs and they make your brain better. Like you become gooder at shooting people in the head if you just eat drugs. Like there's some weird stuff there with the UX that's kind of awkward. Sorry says, yeah, it's just kind of a product of a vision, and it was like, yeah, fine, it's okay, just enjoy the narrative. Yeah, I think we're in agreement there. Sorry says, yeah, same, to be honest. I grew to actually like Abby, and I was a little bit better with Ellie after she let it go at the end, but I was still a little upset, but I think that's what it set out to do. Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment as well. Okay. Well, a little bit of a shorter stream tonight, but I think I'm going to call it because I think I kind of talked about what I was hoping to. Yeah. I don't know why I can't. Oh, look at these people on my ship. I don't know how to kick people off my ship. I feel a little bad doing this because I didn't do anything wrong, but I just I kind of want to have like an empty lobby and not keep them waiting. Yeah, so at any rate, yeah, so my goal, I think, with tonight's stream, in addition to just hanging out and talking shit as usual, was to try to get some of my thoughts out about how the two games compare, and to also just have a chance to rant about why I like the UX in this game in particular. I'm sure there's a much more in-depth and detailed and like like a meticulous analysis that I could do, or that somebody who knows more about UX could do. I've only barely scratched the surface, really. Um, but basically, what I hope happens is that the Nightreign developers keep on playing games like this and try to study and analyze what makes them as good as they are. And specifically, even though they don't think that they're amazing or whatever, just like what works, what are the moving parts that all kind of coalesce together to make the thing move smoothly, if that makes any sense. Um, and hopefully we see. I mean, like Helldivers 2 obviously is the second in the series. As far as I'm aware, there's not another one in there, and they obviously have had the opportunity to learn and innovate and tweak things since the first game. This title, in and of itself, has also been out for a year or so, and as a result, they've had ample opportunities to continue to expand and iterate on the game. And so, who knows where Nightreign will be a year from now, let alone if there's a Nightreign 2, Um, but that's the advantage of creating. Well, I don't know. Who was it that Tyra Banks that was like, steal from the best and make it your own in terms of creativity. At the end of the day, like we're all solving problems. We're all kind of solving some of the same problems, and we're all competing with each other, I guess. But we're also, collaborating in the creative space of game development. We can learn a lot from each other, and we do. And so I hope that winds up being the case for Nightreign. I hope that whether it's from this game or other games, they take the solid platform that they've established for themselves and they look to their peers for inspiration and continue expanding and building and growing and stuff. I think the game is already at a decent place and will hopefully continue to grow as time goes by. As for me, yeah, I think I'm gonna call it there for now. With regards to upcoming stream stuff, so Sunday I'm gonna do another stream. It's gonna be at 6 p.m. I think I'm gonna stick to that schedule. I just want to spend more time outside with my family, with the dog, and everything like that. I'm going to, I think, talk about the power scaling anti-skepticism. I can't decide if I want to do it this week or if I want to spend another week and just do another low-key Naruto stream this Sunday. I will decide by Saturday. It depends on how much I can come up with. I have been going through some older debates and basically like listening on higher speeds, but basically like trying to identify anytime somebody says, well, that could be or that might be, and then seeing how people respond to it, like when the skepticism comes up. And basically my finding so far is that like a lot of the objections that are being raised now by certain people towards skeptical inquiry are being raised by people who have done that same shit for like years and years. And so I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, honestly. I have my thoughts. I think Sage had a live stream a few days ago that was great. That kind of went over a lot of the stuff. I'll be referencing some of that as well. But yeah, that'll be coming up this Sunday. If you're still here, if you stuck around with the stream this long, thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate the chance to get to share my thoughts with y'all, and your patience and your openness to me checking out different games and talking about my experiences with them. Look forward to the Dark Souls 2 music stream within the next couple of weeks. Probably going to do that one on a weekend. I'll also be starting Clair Obscure within the next few weeks as well. I think I'll probably do a video response to Matthew Matosis' Dark Souls 2 review. I think that's probably what it's going to be. It's going to be like next Thursday is going to be the Matthew Matosis, and then that weekend might be the Dark Souls 2 music stream, and then the week after that I'm going to start on CO. So, yep. Thank you again, and hope you have a great rest of your week. I'll see you over the weekend.